For turnout.
That's Jimmy Patronis, the Republican running in a special House election against Democrat Gabe Valamont to replace ex-Congressman Matt Gaetz. She and Democrat Josh Wheel in the other race to replace National Security Advisor Mike Waltz in the House outspent their Republican rivals in the campaign. Wheel's facing GOP State Senator Randy Fine. In Wisconsin, they're voting for a state Supreme Court justice. Conservative Brad Schimmel versus liberal-leaning Judge Susan Crawford.
The court's ideological balance rides on today's election, but it is the massive amount of money poured in to this race that has caught everyone's attention. The race has brought in a record-breaking $90 million, making it the most expensive Supreme Court race in history. That's a state Supreme Court race.
That's Fox's Brooks Singman. At the U.S. Capitol, a Democrat has pulled an all-nighter.
I rise with the intention of disrupting the normal business of the United States Senate for as long as I am physically able.
And Cory Booker started talking at 7 p.m. Eastern, still going 11 hours later, still talking in the Senate in a filibuster, railing against the Trump agenda as the president gets ready for tomorrow, which he calls Liberation Day.
I call it a lot of different names, but it's really, in a sense, it's a rebirth of a country.
He's readying a new round of reciprocal tariffs against countries that have charged for American exports. There's also a new 25% tariff on foreign-made cars and auto parts. Worry about tariffs has been hanging over Wall Street. The Dow dropped 4% in March. The Nasdaq's losses were double that last month. Israel has gone on the attack again in Lebanon, killing at least 3 people. Israel says it targeted a Hezbollah militant who's been helping Hamas attack Israel in Gaza. America's listening to Fox News.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
The Morning Extra, only on Extra 106.3.
Morning, y'all! There's Los, the Hoarder, and Tug.
That's right. Discovering some things about myself I was not aware of.
This guy's getting ready to move. This time next week, you'll be moving.
Yeah, Monday and Tuesday of next week, I was underneath the basement stairs last night as we were talking about like why our days were long yesterday. I found DirecTV equipment from 20 years ago. What was I doing? Hold on. I have a DVD player that was DivX enabled.
How do you know what that is? What's DivX? I don't even know what that is.
So it might have been like the dumbest product you could ever have. DivX was actually where you would go to a store, you would buy a DVD, but you would buy it on the cheap. It'd be like $6. Okay, I got a $6 DVD.
Yeah.
But when you then wanted to watch it, you would then pay the subscription fee. So you would pay $3 in order to be able to watch your $6 DVD and watch your movie.
That's insane.
And it would go through a phone cable that was attached to your DVD player. And so whenever you wanted to watch the movie that you thought you had bought, you would then, now again, I never did it, it was DivX enabled.
Yeah. I'd never even heard of that. That's how bad the product was. It didn't even make it out to mainstream America.
Listen, my mom bought a whole bunch of DivX DVDs, and she's like, well, it's only depending on when we want to watch them. I was like, this is seriously one of the dumbest things I've ever heard of technology-wise.
Indeed.
But found it underneoth my house.
Oh, my Lord.
15 years it's been sitting down there.
That and the DirecTV box.
Yes. With the old remotes, too. The big rubbery looking remotes.
Honking a Bobo, yeah. Freaking kill somebody with that thing.
I have been, and I'm going to admit to it, and somebody probably is going to prosecute me at some point.
Oh, my.
I have been illegally dumping. Now, I'm not saying that I'm like dumping in somebody's front yard, but I have so many boxes that there are times when I go, we don't need this. I'm taking it to the dumpster. Now, I'm sorry, Mr. Publix and Mrs. Publix.
Yeah.
I might have thrown my trash into your dumpster a couple of times in the last couple of days.
You won't be the only.
And I feel awkward about that. But sometimes things got to go out of the house.
Dude, we've all done it. There's not a soul that could call in and tell me, I've never done that. Because
I've never gone behind Publix and thrown trash away.
Everybody's done it at least once.
And I feel weird about it.
Oh, yeah, I know, because you know it ain't the right thing to do.
So I was over near, we had to go to A5 for volleyball because I have volleyball like every single day.
Yeah.
And I decided, well, there's a Goodwill donation center right around the corner. I'll run over by Goodwill. I'll drop some stuff off. And then as I drive away, I'm like, man, there are a lot of dumpsters back behind this building. And I keep looking at them and, giant yellow pasted, no dumping, will be prosecuted. And I kept looking up and there were video cameras on them. And I thought, who really is going to try and prosecute me over this?
Yeah.
But I respected it until I got back to an area I felt more comfortable dumping.
And now the illegal dumping has taken place. Well,
I'm just
You're kind of.
Is it dumping using somebody else's trash can? Really?
Maybe so. I think maybe, but I've done it too. So I'm a guilty party. I can't call. I can't throw any stones. I've done it before as well. Jeray, have you ever? Yeah, he didn't even have to say anything.
He just starts nodding like
a bobblehead.
When I moved to Woodstock from West Cobb about 2.5 years ago, there was a Walgreens that had a dumpster in the back. Buddy, I made deposits about every afternoon at 3.
It's funny how everyone knows
That's right.
the place they go to.
That's right. It's so good.
Because Forsyth County does have a facility. They have a couple of them in the county where you can go get rid of stuff.
Yeah.
But what I did not realize, and why I will not take part in it, is that if you have like extra trash, they charge you like $1 a bag.
Yes.
Like I'm not paying you $3 for you to do this. Now I will recycle. Like I have scrap metal that I need to get rid of. I've got to.
What do you do with scrap metal?
Okay,
you weld it in the backyard.
It's not exactly scrap metal. Okay, maybe this
going
is
out and
for
stealing
you,
some
Dre.
copper.
Exactly. Somebody come get it.
That's right.
I have a kegerator that has not worked properly for like 2 years.
Got it.
All right, it does not cool properly any longer. And that just reminds me, like I have a big CO2 canister. I was going to bring it over to our general sales manager because he likes collecting them. I forgot. So a lot of stuff I was doing yesterday. I'll give this thing away if somebody wants it.
Yeah.
But you got to make it work again.
Yes, if it's a dead kegerator. I can't imagine anybody's lining up.
It works. It just something needs to be fixed on it in order to cool back to its normal temperature.
Yeah, I don't think I want. I mean, look, I guess if you're handy, and I'm not, so that's probably why I would never. But there are those times, when you're like, I think I could fix that up. I think I could figure that out. And then, and I'll hang on to something too long, kind of like it is like you're talking about. And finally, my sweet wife, Laura, will just throw it away. And about a year from now, I'll be like, whatever happened to, I said, I read that a long time ago.
Yeah.
Everyone I know with a kegerator just doesn't, it's cool for a while, and then it just kind of
peters out a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I've had mine for a decade. So, it had a good run.
Use. Yeah, good life.
Run. Now I'm ready to move on to something different.
Yes.
We just don't drink a lot of beer in the house very often anymore.
Yeah, we don't either. I mean, we goof about drinking too many liquor drinks, and don't get me wrong, I have many times, but man, I've dialed so way back in the last few years, just, I don't know if it's just a natural thing as you get older, you slow down a little bit. And it, I think that's probably part of it. Then faith is part of it too. Just try to get right.
You're slowing down and you're being all faithful.
Yeah, I think a little bit of both.
Be sober minded.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both.
Now that Tug has gone all Viking, he just drinks mead.
Well, yeah, and go to a meadery sometime. Isn't that like a place to get honey beer? A meadery. Is that what that is?
This is new to me.
Like a butcher shop?
Meatery? No,
MEAD.
Meadery. Yeah.
I got it.
That's what Tug likes doing.
You can get that at what's the place with the horses and the medieval times?
Just because if you ever needed mead, you got to go to medieval times in order to go and make sure that you get to live like a Viking, live like a conquering knight.
No, meadery is a place to drink beer. Okay. No, well, alcoholic beverage fermented by fermenting honey mixed with water and sometimes.
Honey.
Yeah. Huh. I don't know.
But there you go. We got to the bottom of it.
We
figured it out.
We figured it all out this
We're all
morning.
learning.
The www Google helped us all out.
So don't dump behind Publix and drink your mead.
Yes, that's right. As often as you possibly can. But not too much because, you get sideways and you make poor decisions. Not that I've done that before, but that's what I hear.
Do you think that at some point, when you do pass on to the next plane of existence and you're there at them gates and they go, so tell me about this for fries.
Buddy. It's one of those
So when
moments.
I would get really intoxicated, I'd call my friends and tell them I was buying French fries, but I couldn't even say French fries. I called them fries.
Because I was so liquored up.
Hey, speaking of poor decisions,
Yes.
tell me, say it ain't so. 80 games, Los?
Oh.
What is this guy doing?
Jerks and profile. Yeah. I knew we were going to have to
There
get
was
to this.
another kick in the pants.
Dude, just right in the balls.
It's a 3-year deal for Jerks and Profile. He's going to miss the first 80 games that we're going to be dealing with right here since last night. And then to add on, the MLB suspension now includes a postseason suspension. So even when you come back,
you can't play in the postseason.
You can't play in the postseason.
Good Lord.
Is that new for this year?
That is relatively new.
Yeah,
I don't recall that being
either.
the situation until the last year.
Yeah, it has to be. And the Braves are just not in a position to keep taking punches.
No, man.
I mean, the season has not started a way that you would want. What did they lose? 6-1 last night?
6-1.
Yeah.
I checked out after maybe the second inning.
Yeah, I couldn't even stay up that late. I never saw the first pitch. I was out.
It was a 2-run homer in the first inning. And granted, Grant Holmes did do a solid job as a starter. Mm-hmm. Just, reading through the box score and then kind of flipping through all the highlights. Saw that Jesse Chavez got in, and of course everyone's like, Chavo!
Yeah.
And then home run. So, yeah,
Well,
it's what
maybe
it is.
take a minute to ramp up.
Yeah.
For Chavez and his hat. But
I think Ben Ingram didn't make it too late.
Yeah, no kidding. There was a great cut from last night, and this is Ben Ingram on the Braves radio network talking about how terrible things have gone.
All these innings without any runs, I feel like I got Louisiana hot sauce in my eyes. No kidding.
Dude, it would be less painful than watching the Braves right now.
Bring the boys back home. I'm still optimistic. When they get back in town,
Okay.
this weekend, that's when it starts.
Yeah, you still got 2 more games to lose.
Yeah, you're going to get smoked by the...
It's
you're
just
gonna come
having to
home-
dig out from an
Yeah,
0-7 start.
Yeah, that's the...
And it takes time, and you will, and they're going to be a playoff team, and I think they can win the division. But
Of course.
this is
Yes,
this is the whammy of
That's just the low.
I'm having to play the best team in baseball right now, and I did not hit the ball in San Diego, and that's going to add up to 0-7.
Tug, this time last week, we were talking about that meme where you're looking in the mirror and you're pointing at yourself. I will not let my baseball team control my emotions for the next 6 months.
And I'm not going to. But I just look at it and I'm like, boy, that's ugly.
Well,
That
you
is ugly.
are looking like the Shane Gillis meme where you've got the pistol and you put it in your mouth and then you recognize, I don't want to put this in my mouth. And you point it at everyone in the room. It's like, that's Braves baseball right now. It's like, oh, I can't stand this anymore.
I know, yeah.
Y'all all deserve this instead.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not killing myself. I'm killing y'all. Good Lord. Yeah, it's a disaster right now. And then, yes, it'll turn around. And, yes, there's a whole lot of games we played. But
You got
it's
Chris Sale tonight. You got a shot.
It's just not what you want.
Until you don't.
Yeah, until you don't.
They can't score.
That's the problem. Then nobody hit the baseball. Nobody hits the baseball. And I said it when Freddie left, and I know, that is the way that came down was not pleasant, not pretty, and everybody hates it, and I hate it too. And I remember when he left, I was like, and they brought Matt Olson in, and I like Matt Olson a lot. Matt Olson's great, but he's not Freddie Freeman. That's just a true statement. And Freddie continues to hit, and I've not seen Matt Olson hit. So
until last night, Freddie had a incident in the shower that took him out of last night's game.
What? I didn't hear about that.
Yep, tripped up and
he
was
fell
unable
in the
to play.
shower?
Well, he didn't fall. He had some sort of incident I don't know what he was doing, but he couldn't play last night.
Baseball scratches are always the weirdest ones.
Yes.
Buddy. Call. I didn't hear about that.
By the way,
I'd be getting ahead of that one.
The Braves have scored the fewest runs in the National League and the second fewest runs in Major League Baseball as of right now.
Who has scored less, Oakland or Tampa?
No, they've lapped the field on them, just in case you want to know. The Athletics have scored 17 runs so far this year.
17 runs?
Tampa has scored 16. The Braves have scored 8. The only team with less runs scored so far is the Minnesota Twins with 6.
Good Lord. This is terrible.
They've only played 4 games, though, so.
That's
you got a chance to catch it.
That's the reason they suck worse, because they've played half the games. You know? Oh, gosh, that's awful.
So there you go.
There we go.
Got to wake up bats.
Oh.
Bats are afraid.
Hats for bats.
Hats for bats. You got to figure out something right now.
I've seen where, I forget who it was. It may have been Barrett, I guess. He just tweeted a picture of Jobu.
Barrett Sallee, the voice of the Atlanta Braves pre- and post game.
Yes, sir. New this year, as a matter of fact. And a great guy. We love him. And I think it was Barrett that tweeted the picture of Jobu, which made me smile immediately. So I appreciate that. Another thing that made me smile is standards. You know, the Braves have standards. They're not living up to them right now, but they have standards for sure. And the military has standards. And I love that Pete Hegseth said, we're getting back to our standards, especially with arms, with our sidearms, with our rifles, with our military weaponry.
It's a new memorandum that's coming out today on combat arms standards. You see, for far too long, we allowed standards to slip, and different standards for men and women and combat arms MOSs and jobs. That's not acceptable. We need to have the same standard, male or female, in our combat roles to ensure our men and women who are under our leaders or in those formations have the best possible leaders and the highest possible standards that are not based at all on your sex, if you're a man or a woman.
Yes, right. You want the person next to you to be able to shoot as well or better than you.
Let's face it, this is common sense stuff. This is not a matter of if you're in the military and you have to run, for instance, okay, here's your PT scores, your physical training, here's what you have to hit. And now men and women have to hit the exact same amount. But for combat roles, that is where we're talking about how there's going to be a standard by which both ends have to meet it. And so this is something that changed under Barack Obama that was just completely silly, that suddenly they were enabling combat roles when it came to physical training to change, where let's say, for instance, it might be the 6-minute mile. Got to be capable of a 6-minute mile. Well, women, you get 8.5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like, hold on a second. No, everyone, if they're in combat, needs to be the same as what Pete Hegseth is pushing forward.
No question about it. And then when it comes to military weaponry, the person next to you needs to be able to shoot as well or better than you. That way you protect the people around you. You protect the unit. It's so obvious, and you said it right. It's such common sense. Why would women have lesser standards for weaponry? That makes no sense.
And by the way, if you want to be in the Air Force and you want to work on fighter planes, okay, different. If you want to be some sort of portion of support staff, if you want to work a flight deck, different standards. We're talking about combat standards, and that's what they're looking to alter.
That's right, and it should be. And the fact that it was ever changed is absurd. Anybody that thinks that there should be different standards for different people has never served. You clearly have never served, or you don't care about it, and you don't know about it. I can't imagine anybody thinking, yeah, it's fine. You know, we get ladies out there, and if they can't shoot as well, it's fine. It's no big deal.
Nope.
What?
Needs to all be the same.
Let's flip it around. Let's say the dudes had a lower standard. You don't want those dudes out there. You don't want anybody out there unless they can do the job that needs to be done. Back to common sense. It's all it is. It's all we want is common sense. And that's what you're getting with the Trump administration, not just with Pete Hegseth, though. From top to bottom, everything is looked through a common sense lens, and that's why Trump continues to be so stinking popular and all of his policies popular.
Well, everything makes sense to people that are ordinarily reading it. If I was to explain, here's what the standard is, here's why they're doing it. I think 9 out of 10 people on the street would go, okay, that makes sense to me.
Yep. Hard to argue that.
That's simple. That's populism.
You know, it's kind of like when somebody, they give you a scenario, and let's say the number is $1 billion, and they reduce it down. They're like, all right, I'll give you $100. The university's research center is getting 60% of it, but the university's getting 40% of it. You can understand it. You can wrap your head around $100 because we've all had $100. And I saw that analogy this morning, as a matter of fact, so I pull it. And that's what they're doing. They're just making it understandable. These giant numbers people can't wrap their head around. Go back to common sense. Make things make sense for the regular, average American, and they will give you the thumbs up, thumbs down, or maybe even the middle finger. Can't ever tell which one. The COVID numbers were exactly what Trump said they were. Trump was right again. After headlines next on Extra 106.3.
Stream Clay Travis and Buck Sexton, Glenn Beck, Fox News, and even NASCAR on Sundays. Anywhere on the Extra 106.3 app. Download the app now and get 24/7 access to the live stream, the latest news, and everything you need to know about Atlanta's only conservative talk station. Download the Extra 106.3 app for Apple or Android and check out even more great original content at thepodcastpark.com.
Join A Second Chance Bail Bond CEO Daniel Madelon and host Tug Coward for the weekly radio show Back Your Blue. They will highlight special initiatives, criminal justice programs, and community events aimed at keeping our communities safer. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to learn some good news about and from the law enforcement and justice communities. This week's guests are Major Chiquita Maldonado and Lieutenant Nicole Culberson of the Gwinnett County Sheriff's Office Mental Health Task Force. Tune in on Saturdays or catch up on all past episodes wherever you get your podcasts or at thepodcastpark.com.
No one plans on going to jail, but when it happens, it's important that you know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds, where we believe everyone deserves a second chance. Whether your loved one's been arrested in Cherokee, Clayton, or any of the other metro Atlanta counties in between, A Second Chance Bail Bonds works fast to help expedite release within hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 404-BAIL-OUT or online at atlbail.com.
Are you tired of dealing with drafty, inefficient windows? Do you have certain rooms in the house that you can't keep cool in the summer or warm in the winter? Hi, I'm Dan Watkins with All Four Seasons Garage Entry Doors and Windows. It's time to upgrade these old windows. Replace them with double pane, beautiful, energy-efficient windows. Your new windows will help you regulate a perfect temperature throughout your house. Start saving big money on your energy bills and improve the curb appeal of your home. Give us a call today at 770-517-7078.
You need a pre-owned car or truck, but you don't need the headache of searching for one. Spending hours calling dealerships, then spending half the day filling out paperwork.
Come on.
You need the Honest Car Guy.
Hey, this is Tom from the Honest Car Guy. We help you buy your next pre-owned car or truck honestly. We guarantee each vehicle we sell will come with a copy of the bill of sale, showing what we paid for it. You pay what we pay, plus a disclosed fee. Guaranteed.
Get an honest car buy from the Honest Car Guy. Call 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME-1 or visit honestcarguy.com.
April 6th at Tropical Smoothie Cafe, rewards members get $5 off an acai bowl or an acai bowl with Nutella. Log into the app on April 6th to redeem your rewards. Terms and conditions apply.
It's April 1st, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. Today's April Fool's Day, and some historians claim it dates back to 1582 when France switched from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar as called by the Council of Trent in 1563. Some didn't get the news that recognized the start of the new year had moved to January 1st, and those who still celebrated became the butt of jokes and hoaxes. Also on this day, in 1976, Apple Incorporated was founded by Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and Ronald Wayne. It would later be known for several defining products like the Macintosh, the iPod, the iPhone, and the iPad. In 1963, soap opera General Hospital premiered, the longest-running serial program produced in Hollywood.
I, Laura Weber Baldwin.
Take the Luke. Launching the famed fictional couple Luke and Laura into soap opera history. I'm CJ Papa. That's your Fox Daily Snapshot.
The Dean's List with Janice Dean.
A delivery man from England makes today's Dean's List for saving a customer's life. Leandro Pinto Dantas says he knew something was wrong when he was delivering an order of groceries and no one was answering the door. He knocked and called the number he was given several times but wasn't getting a response. Leandro also noticed the lights and TV were on and he had a strong feeling something wasn't right. So he did some investigating and saw through one of the windows a woman lying down on the floor. He immediately called emergency services and paramedics arrived shortly after. The woman had low blood sugar levels and went into a diabetic episode. Leandro says he originally wasn't scheduled to work that day and had switched shifts to help someone out. He believes God put him there that day to save the customer's life. Not only that, but he put away all of her groceries while first responders took care of her. And a few days later, he brought flowers to her house to make sure she was okay. Janice Dean, Fox News.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your headlines for Tuesday, April 1st. Representative Nikema Williams resigned Monday as the chair of the Democratic Party in Georgia. This comes after pressure to step down from inside her own party, including Senator John Ossoff. Vice Chair Matthew Wilson takes over her role. Representative Lucy McBath has suspended her exploratory committee for a potential run for Georgia's governor to be with her husband as he was recently diagnosed with cancer. She has not ruled out a run entirely, but said she wants to focus on supporting her husband during his recovery. A 17-year-old was arrested Monday in Ackworth for making threats against North Cobb Christian School. Police say they received a Snapchat photo with a school shooting threat. The student has been charged with terrorist threats and is being held without bond. And registration opens today for the Peachtree Road Race. The July 4th event is expected to draw 60,000 runners and walkers. Today's weather, starting in the low 50s and rising to the mid-70s this afternoon with mostly clear skies. Tomorrow looks cloudy with highs potentially reaching the low 80s. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne.
Morgan Wallen had had enough of SNL. After he played his song, they gathered there at the end of the show, to wave at the camera and all that. And he just did a drop step. He hugged the lady that was the host of SNL and walked straight out. Like, everybody noticed, and it became a big deal. But there's a lot of people in that SNL crowd, meaning on stage, that probably don't match the way Morgan Wallen lives or the things that he cares about. It's kind of like the odd bedfellows, because him there was kind of sticking out like a sore thumb. But it's kind of like the UAW folks, those people, and MAGA Republicans being bedfellows. It just, you wouldn't naturally put them together.
I think leadership of UAW is probably different.
Yeah,
I think that when you think about like just the working class dude, that woman, that man, they've largely been Trump supporters.
Yeah, that's right.
It's interesting that you just now see their leadership talk about these tariffs and how good they are for their industry.
They're late to the party.
Yeah.
But it's no surprise because they have connections they're probably trying to protect. Where the worker just says, give me the best situation I can get so I can raise
deal.
Yeah, so I can raise my family right.
Absolutely.
And I've never been a union guy. Private unions are fine. Public unions, like government stuff, I don't like at all.
Yeah, you're negotiating against the taxpayer.
Yeah, exactly.
Which feels very awkward.
It does. And it feels almost sinister a little bit that it's been put. It's like there's a reason they put it together like that.
Yeah, I don't have any issue if you're talking about your auto workers or you're building airplanes or anything else and you want to negotiate collectively against the company. Fine. Is it a union for me? No, it's not for me.
Yeah.
It's just not for me. But I understand that organizing is going to allow you to have more power and more strength, bargaining wise. For everyone as an average. But when it comes to public sector, I feel like it's very gross.
It is.
Like your teachers and their representatives are then negotiating with the state over what their compensation package should be. And
what you're going to pay in taxes.
And if you do not meet it, they won't teach your kids.
Yeah, it's gross.
Yeah,
it's just yuck.
I won't build your car, Mazda, so that you can't sell it in the dealership. Okay, that's different than, well, fine, then I won't teach your kid.
That's exactly right. So those unusual bedfellows come together, but I found that interesting because Morgan said something as he, right at the end of his song, he was like, God bless y'all and go Vols. And it spoke to my heart. I'm not a Tennessee fan, but I know where that was coming from. I would have said the same thing. I would have just said go Dogs. And they don't like him, and he don't necessarily like them, and that's okay. He did, and that's the thing. Saturday Night Live needed him more than he needed Saturday Night Live.
At this point, yeah, he's bigger than that show.
Oh, my gosh, yeah. And they should be proud that he gave in, but he was ready to get out of there. He posted a picture of the little private jet that he had rented to get him out of there, and it just said, "Get me back to God's country. Get me back to real people," because none of these people are.
Have you ever seen, I think it's the 94 or 95 season of Saturday Night Live, how they finished the season? It was Phil Hartman's last show, and it's the entire cast, and they're singing together, and a lot of them are in character, like the most famous characters during that year.
Yeah.
And it's one star after another.
Yeah.
Like you went like, wow, this guy. To think that Michael Myers would create Austin Powers and we would all go, okay, that's kind of what it was. But to then see, okay, who fills up arenas when they go do comedy? Chris Rock does. Chris Farley obviously had his thing. It's one person after another, that entire cast. Adam Sandler, to this day, makes big budget movies.
Absolutely. He's got that deal with Netflix. But if you looked at the cast as it's currently configured,
doesn't have the same kind of
no star power.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Very little star power. I mean, Kenan Thompson's a relative star. Colin Jost is a relative star, I guess. But I mean, Pete Davidson was probably the biggest most recently.
Probably,
and he's not there. So I mean,
he spent like his year or two, and then he was out the door.
On.
Now, I will say, when you go back to 2020 and the entire Aunt Jemima, Count Chocula, all them being canceled, that is one of the funniest skits I've seen in probably about a decade on Saturday Night Live.
No, they have their moments.
But I'm Aunt Jemima.
You can't do this. But that's the thing. They've had their moments.
Yes.
Over and over again, even in the worst of situations and casts. And even in their wokest, they have their moments. And we talked about we've talked about it a bunch of times. The one that came 3 years too late was the COVID vacation. I get COVID, so I get 7 days off, whatever. So they missed. They completely whiffed. You and I laughed about it. Like, if this had been 3 years ago during COVID instead of 2023, this would have been edgy. It would have been cutting edge. It would have been funny. And, it got no play really because of that, because it was so late.
Well, and I think this audio really plays into this. So when everything was first going down, now 5 years ago, as we're getting into, like, remember, we didn't even get to March Madness. We got to tournament play as far as conference tournaments, and then everything got shut down. We never got a basketball tournament.
And it was supposed to be here in Atlanta.
It was supposed to be here in Atlanta.
I still have the Coca-Cola bottle.
We're supposed to have it here. Final Four is going to be here. What then occurred was, I remember looking into the data that the South Koreans had on COVID, because they were publishing all their information. And they had it as a 0.04% was the mortality rate of cases. 0.04%. Now, in our country, which is wildly unhealthy, which we have when it comes to all the health risks in the world, whether it's our blood pressure, our diabetes, all the issues that we have, ours was 0.03%. So we were right in line with what the South Koreans found. Okay, 0.03%. Yet the media ran with almost a 4% number. I want you to take a listen as Donald Trump, this is a montage where Donald Trump brings up what he believes the number to be. And again, this is based on the South Koreans, and also the Israelis had this data. And yet the media ran with it, which also then made making fun of it on Saturday Night Live, you couldn't do.
Mm-mm. A new warning from the World Health Organization. The death rate from the coronavirus is rising. 3.4% is higher.
Twice as deadly as previous estimates.
3.4% state of emergency.
Well, I think the 3.4% is really a false number. Based on a lot of conversations with a lot of people that do this, I think the number is way under 1%.
So to fact check, the World Health Organization says the coronavirus death rate is 3.4%.
President Trump lies that the World Health Organization is wrong.
The number is 3.4%.
3.4% is what it's being reported around the world.
Making it deadlier. So much death.
The death rate.
The percentage is 3.4%. And no hunch from the president can change that.
Trump lied about the most recent World Health Organization estimate that the global death rate of coronavirus is 3.4%.
So they were only off by a power of, 10?
Yeah. Who listens to The Who? Because I don't trust this global organization that is hell-bent on globalism. They back globalists, they back Marxists, they back communists. And I'm glad Donald Trump pulled us out of the WHO, man.
Yeah.
Because for that reason alone. And all of those fools that we just listened to all still have jobs.
They were parroting a number that was meant to be fear porn. Again, I'm looking at this thing going 0.04. Well, that's not terrible. And I still remember making a comparison at the time to Ebola. And I was pointing out how Ebola, far more deadly. Ebola, though, burns through a society so fast that's why it never spreads. It never goes pandemic level. It hits an area, it burns through, it burns everybody out, and then that's it. It goes away. This was different in that because of the lack of a crazy mortality rate, that was why it stayed so long.
Yeah, it could be shared and was and passed around.
But the media was only off by a power of 10.
But that's just one opportunity to be wrong. Like, I think...
Like, is there a certain point where you just go, wow, Trump... What was it, the hat that Elon had?
Trump was right about everything.
Trump was right about everything.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if they were just off about that, then maybe, somebody could say, okay, well, you know, they got it all wrong. They were listening to these health organizations. Okay.
You fooled us.
But what happens when you add in Russia collusion? What happens when you add in Hunter Biden laptop? What happens when you add in Biden dementia? What happens when you add in all those? You don't believe any of them, and you shouldn't. And I would say, look, don't even believe us. Go look it up. Go find.
By all means, have at it.
Go research everything that we're talking about. Go search for everything that we're talking about. I wouldn't recommend Google. If you want to get to some truth, I would not recommend Google. I'd do a DuckDuckGo or something. I would avoid any of those outlets that you know are restricting information. And it's funny to see, because that was the downfall, in the opinion of the left, of Twitter when Elon Musk bought it. He was like, well, they're going to let them say anything. Yes, that's exactly right. And then you got Facebook now, a few years later going, well, we're going to follow that model too. So they're losing their grasp and their ability to send messages out that are nonsensical, that are flat out fake news. And Donald Trump is proven right again, and I know that drives them crazy.
So I did spend a little bit of time over the weekend. I listened to a Rogan podcast, and I listened to Dr. Suzanne Humphreys. And she was the woman who, she wrote a book like in late 2008, 2009, ended up being published, that just talked about it's our preconceived notions of what has been our health status and what we've done to ourselves with some of the chemicals that we have in our food, the inoculations we take, it just runs the gamut of everything. And to have her always say, here's my information, here's where it's cited, you can go look it up. It was always like, you can take my word for it, but here, I'm going to point this out. Now, she says in the book, she says out of all the stuff they put, she's like, they had to make a correction. She's like, and we made the correction to the book. It's like, everything in there you can cite, and here's where it came from. It's so, if you don't believe me, go look at the study. I'm like, that's as good as it gets for me. That's what we always tell people.
That's all
I'm passing the information along. By the way, you can look into it for yourself too.
Transparency is all we look for. And I love, speak kind of on this same thing with RFK. He's up in West Virginia celebrating with them because West Virginia has been the first state that I know of to ban certain types of chemicals being in foods. I love the fact that West Virginia, the ones that the Democrats and the left, they despise those blue-collar workers.
They're so backwards.
They're so dumb.
Coal country.
But are they? Or are they leading the way? Because it certainly looks like they're leading the way to me.
Kind of like the idea of West Virginia leading the way.
Me too, dude. I love West Virginia.
Mountain Mama. And mountain people.
Take me home. Those are good folks. Dude, those Appalachian folks are good folks. They get looked over. They get laughed at. They get scoffed at. They get told they're backwards. They get told they're stupid. And then they produce somebody like J.D. Vance.
And then they go down to the local store to get
cigarettes.
Word of the war from Mom and Pa.
Yeah, right, and cigarettes, and then Daddy runs off. Sad story. Some of it doesn't always end positive.
It doesn't always end in a friendly way.
Yeah, right. It's just not always banning chemicals. Sometimes
Daddy said, I'll see you when you grow up.
That's right, boy.
See you later.
I'll holler at you later, kid. But no, I think it's terrific.
No, I agree. I like that.
I love the fact that he jokingly is calling out Donald Trump for his bad, eating McDonald's and Diet Coke and whatever. And he's like, maybe we'll get him on a diet a little bit because Trump's lost 30 pounds.
Yeah, he does look like slimmed down.
Yeah, he has. I'm not sure what he's doing or how he's doing it. Probably just being active. because he's always moving. He's always on the trail.
You know you can't drop weight these days without everyone being like,
Wegovy.
Yeah. What did you plug yourself with?
Yeah, what's the other one? No.
Ozempic.
Ozempic, thank you. Yes.
It's like, did you plug yourself with Ozempic?
No.
Yeah, I know a couple people who have gone down
me
that
too.
road.
I know people that are doing it now.
Yeah, it's worked for them. I'm like,
Sure.
good for you. I just have no interest.
Yeah, no, thank you. I don't want any part of it either. I've been going and working out a little bit.
Yeah.
At least getting up to twice a week. Can't ever tell. Maybe I'll get a little more, but at least twice a week, which is good. And I can feel the difference, dude.
Yeah. Oh, you'll notice
Always.
on like endurance.
Yeah.
You'll notice on a handful of things you do around the house where you go, oh, that's easier.
Yeah. I wish.
Your singing has gotten a lot better. It's got all that extra capacity.
Yeah, right. I don't know that it's improved. It's very kind of you to say that, but it's not. I don't think it's improved. I think it's still very poor. I like to do it though. Sing, man. I was singing driving home from South Carolina. My wife's like, "Can you just not sing all the time?" Because it doesn't matter if it's Pearl Jam or Kenny Chesney. I'm singing at the top of my lungs driving down the road. Like, look, if you want to drive, I'll sit over here and
Does she sit in the back of the car like Miss Daisy?
No.
You just drive?
No, she's a great co-pilot. She is, man. She makes sure you have everything you need, and if you don't, she'll figure out a way to get it to you.
My wife is terrible. She doesn't even say anything on car trips.
No?
Yeah, like she gives you like a gummy or sodas, or she opens up things for you, and then she doesn't talk. She just goes to sleep and stuff.
Yeah, Laura does fall asleep a little bit. I'll admit that. I say a little bit. I mean, every time we get in the car. Tug and Los until 10.
It's a bad co-pilot for me.
That's right.
Somebody's got to talk to the captain.
Dude, keep me awake.
You
know, because we've been up late and we're up early getting back on the road. It's the way it works every weekend, or has every weekend for the last, month and a half going back and forth to South Carolina. Goodness.
Well, this is how divorce happens.
I hope it doesn't go that far. I hope we can come up with some sort of strategy, some negotiating tactic that not end up there. Well, I mean, literally, in 27 days, it'll be 24 years. So I'm hoping Los doesn't go that far.
Yeah.
Leslie Stahl, on the other hand.
New Horizons.
Yeah. This woman, I have no respect for Leslie Stahl. Zero. And when I play this piece of audio for you, when she's talking to a man who was a hostage under Hamas and maybe the terrorist organization, well, they had reason to be horrible to him, is what Leslie Stahl presents. You're going to be ready to spit fire and bite nails into after I play this fool for you next on Extra 106.3.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Here are your sports headlines for Tuesday, April 1st. Atlanta Braves outfielder Jurickson Profar has been suspended by Major League Baseball for 80 games for a violation of the league's substance abuse policy, the performance enhancement drug policy to be exact. Profar will also be ineligible for postseason play when he returns later this season. On the field, the Braves are now 0-5 after a 6-1 loss to the Dodgers last night. Chris Sale is on the mound for the Braves tonight. He'll be opposed by Dustin May. First pitch is set for 10:10. You can hear that game on our sister station's brand new app, 680 The Fan. And the Hawks are back at State Farm Arena tonight as they host the Portland Trail Blazers. That tip-off is set for 7:30. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
Hey, homeowners, it's Flounder, and I'm here to keep you warm. Well, I won't, but my friends at Dobbs Heating and Air will. As a new homeowner myself, I prefer working with local, family-owned companies who value what matters to me and treats my home like it's their own. The Dobbs family have a passion for what they do, and taking care of people is their primary goal. So if your home needs help staying warm right now, call Dobbs Heating and Air and experience the Dobbs difference. And check them out online at dobbshvac.com.
What's the mystery behind Mystery Valley Golf Course? Is it the fact that it's been voted one of Atlanta's must-play courses? Or is it the fact that it's conveniently located from anywhere in Atlanta? Or maybe it's because Mystery Valley has recently renovated the course, adding all new tipped Bermuda putting greens, upgrading all 66 sand bunkers, and improving the clubhouse and amenities all around. No matter what it is, Mystery Valley Golf Club has been a staple of the Atlanta golf community for many years, and it reopened with the new renovations. Now is the perfect opportunity to make a tee time and enjoy a round of golf at Mystery Valley. located next to Stone Mountain in Lithonia, taking all of the beautiful natural scenery while enjoying a fantastic round of golf. Go to MysteryValleyGolfCourse.com to book tee times. But one question will always remain. How did Mystery Valley get its name?
If you're the decision maker at your company, we have great news for you, for your HR department, and for your employees. A new and future-forward way to do health benefits is here from Thatch. Not only do your employees get better health benefits with Thatch, but you save an average of $1,620 per employee per year. That's right. You can save over $1,600 per employee per year. Plus, Thatch reduces the time your HR department spends administering benefits. Businesses all over the country love Thatch's breakthrough approach. Rather than a wasteful one-size-fits-all plan, Thatch empowers your employees by letting them customize their own benefits plans. And you save money and time while providing your employees with better health benefits, which works better for everyone. Book a demo with Thatch and we'll send you a $100 gift card. Visit thatch.ai/radio to book a demo for your gift card. That's THATCH.ai/radio. Thatch.ai/radio.
Hey, it's a Kimmer. Okay, you're driving along. Suddenly you hear that horrible sound of metal and crunching. It's an accident. Even if it's a little minor fender bender, man, that could be a nightmare. First, obviously, take care of yourself. But before you make a deal with an insurance company or anybody else, call David Van Sant with Van Sant Law. You know why? Because he used to work for the insurance company, so he knows how to get the right settlement and right away. Van Sant Law. Don't forget, if you don't get paid, they don't get paid. Protecting your interests. Insurance is great, but it's complicated. 855-GA-INJURY or VanSantLaw.com.
My name is Patrick, and I'm the Military Outreach Manager at the Warrior Alliance. I served in the U.S. Army as an airborne ranger and deployed to several combat zones in support of the global war on terror. Veterans bring excellence through our work ethic, skills, and civic duty. However, transitioning to civilian life can be difficult, as we all share a loss of purpose when leaving the military. Returning veterans have earned and deserve our support so they can thrive on their journey home. The Warrior Alliance understands the challenge and is helping warriors navigate to success after service. Join us in changing thousands of lives for the better. Donate today at thewarrioralliance.org.
Xtra 106.3 is proud to be your conservative voice in Atlanta, and we offer a huge slate of original podcasts. Head over to thepodcastpark.com and grab the podcast that you love, all presented by Associated Credit Union.
Tug and Los on the Morning Xtra on Xtra 106.3. Oh, Lord.
I try to find a way to turn your frown upside down.
Yes, and Los, and he has an uncanny ability to, when the moment is at its most tender, to twist it around and make you laugh, which is, you can't pay for that. So I appreciate you this morning, friend.
You asked, you were talking about how there's somebody that you spent some time around in country radio and how they passed away to cancer.
Yeah,
and
it's a sad story.
You're like, it's a sad story, and I was like, is it Dallas?
No, and it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was.
Does it make you want to call Dallas and just make sure that she's doing okay?
Yeah. Oh, yes, I should. Yes.
Maybe like as soon as we get off the air, you just call her.
Or just shoot her a text, you know,
and just be like, Dallas, I just wanted you to know.
Yeah,
I was just thinking about you.
Thinking about this morning.
Sure you're okay.
Maybe call Krista Gates too. Gatesy over at the Bull.
Call everybody around.
Yeah, all my friends. Yeah.
All your country radio.
Sarah Rose.
Yeah. Call her up and be like, baby. Yes. I still have her name in my phone for somebody that I talked to like every afternoon for like 3 years. As soon as like we moved, I have not had one correspondence, and I'm
it
like,
was a work friendship.
But she was one of the coolest people
She's
I knew in
cool.
radio. Yeah,
Sarah's so cool. And the overlap was that 680 The Fan was in the building, the Haverty's building, with Cumulus at the time at 101.5, where me and Sarah worked, and then right across the hall was the 680 studios. So Los would be coming in with Chuck and Chernoff, and that was about the time Sarah would get done.
That was her shift.
Yeah, her shift was 10 to 3 in the midday. But, man.
Oh, and she would come rolling into our studios, and all we would do is talk Georgia football for about half an hour, goofing around. In fact, she had, I think it was, she told me, she had her dad with her, and it was Buck Blue who was making an appearance somewhere. And she made it a point, because she knew Buck. You know,
of course,
she was around.
Yeah.
So she was like, I'm going to take my dad to go meet Buck Blue. And so she comes in the studio, and she's like, yeah, I had my dad meet Buck, and it was wildly underwhelming. I was like, yeah, it's kind of every Buck Baloo interaction.
Relatively awkward a little bit.
Hey, Buck, I really enjoyed watching you play football. Yeah, well, that's great.
Yeah, no, he doesn't consider himself to be, above any. I mean, he is the most
even keel,
common man.
Is not gonna get worked up
about nothing. Except, well, let me tell you, he gets worked up about the things we talk about sometimes.
Yes,
but on the down low, like he'll creep by.
Hey,
yeah, exactly.
Did you guys hear about what Doge just cut?
Yeah.
And it's always like that's got him animated. Like he's pretty fired up about that. But I'm telling you,
that's the animation level, though.
He would rather talk about the round of golf for his kids rather than like,
that's right.
Hey, I remember this play you made in 81. He's just like,
that's right.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I've already passed that. Yeah, I've moved on. He does like talking about, and you would know better than I, Lois, because you worked with him for so long. He loves talking about his minor league baseball. Because he loved that time in his life.
It's funny stories that he has from those days within the Expos organization. Yeah.
Who was the umpire that he had it out with?
That was Angel Hernandez.
Who's still umping today.
Well, he retired down.
He didn't retire, okay, because he was so bad. He was the butt of every joke because he was such a bad ump.
So they were in the minor leagues together, and Angel's behind the plate, and Buck is at bat. And apparently he called a couple strikes on him that were so bad. Buck turned around and said, if you keep making those calls, neither one of us is getting out of here. And they ran him. Angel just kicked him right out of the game for that.
I love it. But it's the truth. It's not. It's like that's not wrong.
That's so Buck Blue. You keep making those calls, neither one of us are getting out of here.
In that slow Southern drawl. God, I love that guy. He is the best. I absolutely love him.
So what's up, Sari?
Yeah, Sari in Dallas.
I'm glad your dad met
and Gatesy. Good morning to all y'all. We love the ladies in country music for sure. Lady I don't love is Leslie Stahl. I'm talking a partisan hack. I try not to talk bad about people. I try to point out the things that I see, and if somebody's doing it wrong, I try to formulate an opinion that isn't a personal statement on them. It's here's what they're doing. I don't agree with. I try not to make it about them personally.
You know what my problem is with Leslie Stahl?
She's an idiot.
Okay, that's number one. She's not curious
at all.
As a journalist, as someone who is on 60 Minutes, she's not curious. When Donald Trump told her, they spied on my campaign, Leslie, here's what they did, and she spent her time going, you can't just say that. This is 60 Minutes. You can't just throw this stuff out. They didn't do that. Yeah, they did, Leslie.
And now we know it. And now he was right about it again. Elon's hat couldn't be more correct, Lowe's.
Donald Trump was right about everything.
That's exactly. I want you to hear Leslie Stahl. She's sitting down with a man who was a hostage of Hamas after the October 7th terrorist attack on Israel.
And by the way, 60 Minutes did a series where they were interviewing every single different handful of these people
that were released. And he talked about them starving him and beating him. And she had an unusual reason for why that may have happened.
The terrorists became very mean and very cruel and violent.
More so.
Much more so. They were beating me and starving me.
Do you think they starved you or they just didn't have food?
No, I think they starved me, and they would often eat in front of me and not offer me food.
Did they starve you, or did they just not have food? Have you seen any of those terrorists dying of starvation? Have you seen any of them that have lost any weight?
Have not. In fact, when they were celebrating their handoff of a woman's body and her two children, they didn't look like they were starving.
Dude, that was the most gruesome thing I've ever seen. Outside of somebody just, beating somebody senseless or killing them, indiscriminately, which they did. Outside of the actual violent act, that is the most disgusting thing that I've ever seen in my life. A parade and celebration of murdering a mother and her two children? What kind of barbarians do that?
Leslie Stahl has been at 60 Minutes since 1991.
And she's on their side. She's on the side of the barbarians.
It's entirely possible that, because it happens to everybody, hadn't happened to me, ain't going to happen for a while, but when you lose the fastball, that's what you ask. When you're no longer covering for your own belief system and you can no longer ask any inquisitive questions. Again, a lack of curiosity and a lack of intelligence to go along with it.
Do you think she's ever been a good journalist? Because I I can't say that I've watched her career closely.
I would bet you during the 90s you went, wow, okay, this woman's really with it. And as politics has gotten more partisan, and then 60 Minutes got more partisan.
Completely partisan.
You imagine that you actually asked a hostage.
Do you think they starved you to death?
Were y'all both starving? Were y'all in this together?
And then his response is, no, they were eating in front of me.
Was this like Stockholm Syndrome? Like, did you care for your captors? No, B, they were eating in front of me.
And beating me. And that's the question you ask? Like, what a waste of time. She is a waste of time. 60 Minutes is a waste of time. And anybody who watches it is wasting their time and becoming dumber for having seen it. I've never seen anything quite like it. That's the worst thing. That's the worst piece of quote-unquote journalism I've ever seen right there. 6 o'clock hours brought to you by Subaru of Gwinnett. Make sure you get out there and shop with those guys. They do good work.
She was just the mouthpiece for Hamas.
That's exactly it, man.
She might as well have been Hamas light asking questions. Were they really starving you, or was Hamas starving?
Yeah, because those bad Israelis. That's what she was trying to allude to the entirety of the conversation. When we come back, the Biden legal game, using your tax dollars against you. Next on Extra.
Nowhere in our Constitution does it say that it is the federal government's responsibility to educate the children of this country.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Convenience is defined as the state of being able to proceed with something with little effort or difficulty. Well, at RBM of Atlanta, we embody this philosophy. Meet our Mercedes-Benz pickup and delivery service. It gives you back time and money. Does your Mercedes-Benz need service? If so, we'll pick up your vehicle that's requiring service from your home or office and bring it back to our dealership for the required service. With over 100 appointments available every weekday, over 50 appointments on Saturdays, and more than 200 courtesy vehicles in our fleet, we're here to serve. We'll work around your schedule. We're here to save you time, energy, and money. RBM of Atlanta is a J.D. Power 2023 Diamond Dealer of Excellence for the customer sales experience and Georgia's only 9-time Mercedes-Benz Best of the Best winner. We're proud to be Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964. Pickup and delivery service restrictions do apply. Ask your service coordinator or service advisor for details.
Hi, I'm Chris Lalamia, owner of the Trusted Toolbox. Got a to-do list a mile long? No problem. We've got the ultimate solution, our Handyman for a Day program. Here's how it works. You get a skilled handyman dedicated to knocking out your honey-do list. Paint touch-ups, drywall repairs, door adjustments, and much more, all done in one day. You want to jump into spring and not worry about your home? Call us now before the rush for your Handyman for a Day, and call us at 770-623-3097 or visit us at thetrustedtoolbox.com. One call, one handyman, one day. The Trusted Toolbox.
Millions of guys suffer from erectile dysfunction. That's 1 in 3 men. And I can tell you, I'm one of them.
If you or someone you know suffers from ED, Peyronie's disease, or PE, here's 38-year emergency room doctor and founder of Total Body Therapy of Georgia, Dr. Eric Deal.
Patients who enter my office are often frustrated, hopeless, depressed, and embarrassed. I understand the problem, and I'm going to help you fix it. We provide testosterone replacement therapy, the P-shot, and treatment for ED, PE, and Peyronie's disease. There's not just one therapy that can solve these complex issues. When you visit our clinic, you're going to see me. I'll do a complete history and physical prior to any treatment that we use. Take it from me, Dr. Deal. When it's not hard, it's really hard.
Call Dr. Deal for your free one-on-one evaluation and resolve your ED, Peyronie's, or PE issues. 404-777-1911. Total Body Therapy of Georgia. 404-777-1911. Online at tbtofga.com.
We all know that life can be unpredictable. The moment you're planning that family trip and then the next somebody is sick. And that's why I want to talk to you about the Jace case, your ultimate safety net when emergencies strike. The Jace case isn't just that mess of medications behind the mirror up in the cabinet. It's an organized doctor-prescribed case of life-saving tools paired with a set of cards explaining exactly how and when to use these medications. The case is peace of mind in a time of uncertainty. Imagine having your essential prescriptions right at your fingertips, ready to go when you need them most. Whether it's a sudden allergy flare-up or a common cold, you won't have to scramble to find the help you need. It's about taking charge of your health and being prepared no matter what life throws at you. When you order your Jace case today, use the promo code BECK at jace.com for a discount. Don't wait for the unexpected to catch you off guard. Be ready with the right medications on hand the moment you need them. At jase.com, jace.com, promo code BECK.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. This hour is presented by Van Sant Law, vansantlaw.com.
The polls are opening now in Florida. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. In 2 special congressional elections in heavily Republican districts as the GOP hopes to add to their slim House majority.
And if they go and vote, we are both going to be just fine and have great nights for President Trump.
State Senator Randy Fine running against Democrat Josh Weil, who along with Democrat Gabe Alamon in the other race against Jimmy Petronas outspent the GOP candidates.
Florida's first congressional district was once held by Matt Gaetz, who resigned amidst an ethics investigation when nominated to be Attorney General for President Trump. Florida's 6th congressional district was held by Michael Waltz, now serving as the president's national security advisor.
Fox's Eben Brown. Polls open next hour in Wisconsin in a state Supreme Court election that'll decide if that court will remain liberal-leaning or shift to the right like Brad Schimmel hopes. He tells Fox.
Many of our election integrity laws are going to end up in front of this court, and we could see the rules we've put in, our legislature's put in place in recent years to try to protect that election integrity get struck down by this activist court.
He's facing Susan Crawford, who claims Elon Musk is trying to buy the election, spending millions to back Schimmel. A Democrat spent all night talking in the Senate and is still going. Cory Booker railing against Elon Musk and the Trump agenda, slashing federal spending, with Booker worried about Social Security.
It's the hard-earned savings of working Americans, and it belongs to Americans. President and Elon Musk need to keep their hands off of it.
Now, the president's getting ready for what he calls Liberation Day tomorrow.
Fox has told President Trump's trade advisors have presented him with multiple tariff plans. This week, those reciprocal tariffs and 25% tariffs on all foreign-made cars are expected to kick in. There is still some information we don't know, including how many countries will be affected by those reciprocal tariffs and how these levies will be imposed.
Fox's Madeline Rivera. A Washington Post report of a potential 20% tariff on most imports sent stock futures falling after a March sell-off. The Dow dropped 4% last month. The NASDAQ lost double that. America's listening to Fox News.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Extra 106.3 and Fox are red. CNN and CBS are blue. If you want conservative news and talk, we have just the app for you. Search for the Extra app wherever you download apps.
Tug and Los until 10. Thank you for being here. 404-741-1230. Always good to hear from you. We're changing the station completely. Going to turn it upside down starting tomorrow. We're going to be just liberal talk all day long, as liberal as you can get it. We're going to have Leslie Stahl as guests.
Nobody told me.
Well, I'm making the announcements tomorrow. I'm telling everybody right now.
But honestly, and I actually appreciate this as I've gone along in this business, I'm the last one to know everything going on in this building.
Right.
That means I just show up, kind of take care of my business, and I go home.
And roll with the punches.
And you tell me I need to be somewhere, I need to help out with something.
Yeah.
I'm like, you got it. Okay, I'm there.
A soldier, a troop.
I don't need to know anything else about anything.
Well, tomorrow we're going liberal talk all day. And then from now on until the eternity, liberal talk forever.
We don't get fooled again.
April Fools!
April Fools, everybody.
Yeah, that's right. That's the only thing I need to do.
I'm going to go pinch my kids, and they're going to be like, what'd you do that for? And I'll be like, April Fools?
Yeah. Well, I thought that was You don't pinch on April Fool's Day, do you?
No, it's more of St. Patrick's Day. But if you get them confused.
That's right. That's right. Confuse the children early in the morning. I love it. That's what I do, too. Are you doing April Fool's Day jokes? Do you do April Fool's Day jokes? Have you ever done anything on the air that was really good? Because I do have one story that was really funny that we did on an April Fool's Day where we had this singer. She was in a band called Trick Pony, and then she had gone off and was doing a solo thing. Her name was Heidi Newstead, and we had a voice actor come on the show with us, and we had Heidi as an interview, and the joke was on her, but she had no idea. So we had the guy, and we told him that he was winning a Toyota, and then so we go along, and he wins the contest, and he's like, "Yeah, I want a Toyota. I can't wait. I need a new car." We're like, "No. Sorry, it's a toy Yoda, like from Star Wars." And he melts down on the air. He's like, "You SOBs, you lied to me. Heidi Newfield is you're involved with this." And she's like, "I had nothing to do with it." She's just panicking on the air. And then we tell her it's a gag, and she cussed us up one side down the other until she got calmed down, and then she thought it was really funny.
I pulled a lot of pranks. I think my favorite one was Matt Chernoff and I on Chuck and Chernoff knew that the audience, because there's nothing they like more than informing people when you're trying to pull something. And so we pretended, we told the audience, we say, "Hey, we have a fake Bo Bice who's calling in because Chuck Oliver loves Bo Bice from American Idol."
Who lives here in town.
Yes. He's like, it's a fake version of him. And so, of course, people start sending Chuck messages and emails. They're trying to play you. They're trying to mess around with you.
Right.
So by the time that the real Bo Bice called in, Chuck would not take part and he would not ask questions. And then slowly but surely he actually figured out, wait a minute, this is actually really Bo Bice. and Bo spent his time on the air having to explain to Chuck that he was actually Bo Bice.
No, it's really me, man.
He's like, "No, man, like I did this and I live over here." And Chuck's like, "I don't believe you."
You fake Bo Bice. That's great. That's so much fun. And Bo Bice is such a nice dude and so talented.
He was so friendly with it.
No doubt. A lot of those people that come off those shows get a bad rap because they are really talented, and it's just sometimes it just doesn't work. I mean, it has for Carrie Underwood. It has for Kelly Clarkson. Daughtry to a degree there for a while. He's pretty hot for a while. But just not everybody. It's just the timing has got to work out right, and it doesn't always work out right.
So when I first came into radio, this is when I was interning 16 years ago now. I was always in the building at the Morning Xtra, the old building where
the old Cumulus building over at Haverty's. Yeah,
and I found it on April Fool's Day. I found this. It looked like a legitimate document from Canon that said this printer and copier is now equipped with voice activation software, but you might have to repeat yourself loudly a few times while it calibrates.
Oh, no.
And I put this thing on all the printers and all the copiers. And our very own Mike Key, I was told later that day, I got out of there by 11 o'clock, but I was told that about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, he was standing in front of that copier just screaming at the top of his lungs, "Print! Print!"
So you're telling me that our promotions director, who tends to fall for everything, ended up falling for that. Yeah. Color me surprised.
That's right. That's so good. Mikey is one of a kind. If you want a show, he's going to give you the best show in the world. But if you need something written with properly,
that is not where his strengths lie.
Detail is not.
You need somebody to put on a party with 1,000 people. Mike Key is your guy.
Oh my gosh, it will be the best you've ever had.
You need somebody to spell, I don't know, the word grammar correctly.
He sent me. We were giving away tickets to the Darlington Raceway, which is in South Carolina. And sometimes, I'm not like Anchorman bad. But sometimes if I haven't pre-read something, which I try to always do, but it occasionally happens that I don't, and I read Darlington, North Carolina, and in my head I was like, that's not right. And I got keyed. That's what we call it, getting keyed. We're like, I was like a Tesla in that moment.
I said it, and now I look foolish.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And you just keep rolling across it, hoping nobody will.
But again, 3,000 people, live band. Mike Key is your guy for running that entire operation out of the park, home run every time.
Grand slam. Yep.
If you don't want to be keyed because Key Daddy happened to write down what the promotion was, you better pre-read it.
And you better check the details. Because he might tell you it's a Tuesday and it's a Thursday. He might tell you it's in the afternoon, it's in the morning. You just never know.
Like Mike Key right now, he might think it's Wednesday, April 1st.
Could be. Would not surprise me. And it's 7:11 in the evening because he's just gotten sideways the night before. The illegals that came to the United States, we know were a choice. It was in an effort to influence elections. It was a backfill of the people that were leaving California. It was, how do we convert these illegals into voters? And it was so funny because my sweet Aunt Peg was telling me when we were having this discussion over the holidays or something, she was like, well, they don't have Social Security cards. They can't vote. They're not going to get any money from the government. They don't have the right credentials. They don't have a Social Security number. They can't.
Oh, really? Hold my beer, Aunt Peg.
Exactly. And I was like, ma'am, I love you, but you're being misled. And now we've seen it. Now we even know when DOJ was investigating this, when they were trying to figure it all out, what is happening, they were actually just looking for fraud, waste, and abuse, but what they found was so much more filthy. Antonio Gracias, he's helping DOJ, and he's a businessman, smart guy. His family migrated from Spain, and he wanted to make a point. We won't play this part, but he made a point. This is not political, and I'm not anti-immigration. I am in favor of legal immigration, just like my family legally immigrated to the United States from Spain. He just says there's a proper way of doing it. So he's looking for the fraud, waste, and abuse, and yes, they found plenty of it, but they found something else, and that was illegals let in by the Biden administration getting taxpayer-funded benefits and Social Security cards, being able to vote.
We started at the top of the system, mapping the whole system of Social Security to understand where all the fraud was. And there's a lot of great people there that showed us really a lot of waste. And so that came up with a big list of stuff. But this is what jumped out at us. In 21, you see 270,000 people, goes all the way to 2.1 million in 24. These are non-citizens that are getting Social Security numbers. This literally blew us away. Like, we went there to find fraud, and we found this by accident. This number, what this is when you come in the country, if you're an illegal, there's a couple ways to come in. You come in through a port of entry, and you can tell them you're afraid, and they'll give you an asylum case. Another way to do it is to just go to the border. Literally, this happened. I talked to Border Patrol myself. Elon was there too. You walk up to a Border Patrol officer, and you tell them you want to come in. They have a couple of choices. They could charge you with a misdemeanor or a felony under 1325. Or they can make it an administrative offense, like a parking ticket, basically. They were told to do that, make it an administrative offense under the last administration. And then you go walk across the border, they do what's called a release your own recognizance, and they give you an NTA, a notice to appear, which to appear to judge. The wait times on judges are like average 6 years. Look at Grok, you'll see it on immigration judges. So what happens then? Once you're in the country and you got asylum, you can apply for a work document. And then Social Security Administration automatically sends you in the mail your Social Security number. No interview, no ID.
So all those people, and you've seen it on social media, you've seen it in the mainstream media.
They don't get paid.
They don't get paid. They're not getting benefits. They can't vote. They don't have a Social Security card. Oh, yes, they do. And it was all part of the plan. And they succeeded for 4 years under your nose, using your tax dollars to make it happen. Dude, that is filthy. Filthy.
And to recognize that there is 10 to 20 million people that were brought into the country with the sole purpose of giving them your money, destabilizing the system, and then eventually voting, and as they pointed out, voted in the election. The only reason this election was even a little bit close, and it really wasn't, was because of these people. And the only way that the left believes they're going to maintain power in the future is by importing their voters. They have no other way of doing it. Their policies, their ideas have failed. By and large, the only people who are still espousing them are a bunch of burnout old people. All right? If you're right now thinking about how liberal left you are, there's a good chance, because it ain't the young people anymore unless you're a young liberal white woman. Outside of that, it's not even that large amount of the African-American population or the Hispanic population. It is boomers, white old boomers.
Those are the only people that showed up to vote for Kamala Harris. That's the only place that Kamala Harris did well in the election. And I see it in my daily life that those are the people that still listen to the mainstream media. Those are the people that still watch 60 Minutes and CNN and MSNBC and ABC and CBS and whomever else. Those people are still being misled daily because they've not realized, and probably don't want to, that the information that they are getting is completely fabricated and biased. It is meant to program them, and it has worked. Those are the only people left that the mainstream media is hanging on. When you see those tiny numbers, Los, that CNN and MSNBC are getting at night, and you know, probably the network news too, those are the people watching. Those tiny numbers are those boomers that are still being brainwashed. They cannot escape it.
65 plus.
That's right.
That's the number. Now, you can't build a business off of 65 plus. When we talk about the amount of young people that voted for Donald Trump, and because they've spent the better part of 15 to 20 years being told they're not important, that's why they're siding with us. Because left-wing activism has told them, you can't be a man. I mean, think about it. They invented the term toxic masculinity just because you happen to like lifting weights and guns and chasing women.
Or just being a regular dude. Anything to do with being a regular dude, you are toxic.
And so 65 plus, they're the ones that are barely hanging on to this thing. As you all phase out, as you all remember, these are the people that largely were the ones that freaked out during COVID. I mean, average age of death was 78, and they decided that all the rest of us who were in our 20s, 30s, and 40s, we all had to live by their rules. We're done with it. Y'all are done, boomers. Like, it's all over with. Like, Gen X is running this thing. We're in charge. And if you want us to make sure we keep putting foods on your plates, and don't touch your Social Security, you need to pipe down. All right, I'll give you a warm glass of milk and a shut the hell up.
That's right.
All right, that's what I'm offering you.
That's right.
But I need you to stop being silly.
They're not going to, man. They're not. They're not.
Stop keying Teslas.
They can't. And if you look at the people that are doing it,
boomers.
I'm so surprised by that. Like, I understand the brainwashing. I get it. But to act and go out and to do things that you would expect a teenager to do because they're making bad decisions. To see a grown adult, somebody that's lived 65 years or more.
They're supposed to know better.
They're supposed to. Why am I? That sounds like something you'd tell your daughter. You know better than that. Why would I have to tell my Aunt Peg that? You know better than that.
Why would I have to tell my mom, please don't key that car?
You should.
What made you think that you could key the car that has cameras all over it?
Dumb ass. How are you such a dumbass?
It's called Sentry mode, but this is where we're at this point, where this was the game. Because again, when you talk about your solid vote that you could depend on is 65 plus, they need to bring in the next wave.
That's right. And that's why they're doing it. That's why they're important, for sure. And there's so many boomers out there that obviously don't fall into this category and have escaped the brainwashing. But about 20% of the country is still under that facade that the mainstream media gives them real news. And look, they're not even hiding their communism anymore. That's what I want to ask my Aunt Peg. Are you noticing? Are you finally seeing what I've been telling you for 20 years? That these people are communists. No, of course she doesn't. But did you see what Rashida Tlaib had posted on her X account?
Please.
Let me get the exact verbiage as I pull it up. See you all tonight, comrades. She is speaking In New York City and Metro Detroit, they're going to go and do 2 stops. The Democrat Socialists of America, an organizing call. And all they're talking about is how much they love communism and socialism and Marxism. They're not even hiding it. They're actually rubbing it in your face. Come along with us, comrades. We want you to wear the sickle, too, on your T-shirt. And these clowns will line up behind these fools and say, yeah, communism's great.
The Democrats were a lot better off when they campaigned from the middle and hid what they were actually interested in doing to you. Now, this is a bold new strategy. We're going to tell you exactly what we're about. You have to feel either ignorant or confident, either way, that this is going to work for you.
And the leaders of the party, Rashida Tlaib, AOC, Bernie Sanders, they're all saying the same thing. The Democrat Party is dead as far as being anything but socialist, communist, Marxist. That's what it is become. That's what it is. It's already become that. Now it's just a spotlight is being put on it. So you can see they're not hiding it from you anymore. If you're a Democrat and you support communism, socialism, you're going to fit right in. But if you're still one of those freedom-loving Americans, you better get out of that party. Because that's what it is. The Democrat Party, as you know it, is dead. It will not be revived. It will be socialist, communist, Marxist from now on. Talkmaster Neil Bortz, I look forward to asking him about this, too. If he's seen. See y'all tonight, comrades. And get his take on it. Next on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3.
The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's the camera. How's it going? Here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
I admire most of what Donald Trump is doing. I wish he'd slow down Elon Musk, not in what he's doing, but how he acts. I love what Elon Musk is doing. But, hey, guy, don't dance around with chainsaws. I'm not even allowed to own a chainsaw.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
This is Tom with the Honest Car Guy.
Hey, what's with all this honesty stuff?
We help you buy your next pre-owned car or truck honestly.
How honestly?
We guarantee that each vehicle we sell will come with a bill of sale showing what we paid for the vehicle. You'll pay what we pay, plus our disposed fee guaranteed.
No gimmicks or tricks?
Nope.
Man, this sounds like a new way to buy a car.
Get an honest car buy from the Honest Car Guy. Call 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME-1 or visit honestcarguy.com.
Senior Bid Manager, positions offered by CETA Information Networking Computing USA, Inc. in Atlanta, Georgia. Leads and manages virtual bid teams across a matrix structure. Acts as the main point of contact for the internal teams on bids. Will successfully drive and manage the virtual team to close new and renewal business opportunities related to strategic, large, and/or complex solutions. Submit resume to gosia.mikolalajczYk@sita.aero.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
This is House Call for Health. We know getting good sleep is essential for good health. But if you need another reason to catch more Z's, researchers say getting enough of certain sleep stages could affect your Alzheimer's risk. Researchers from the Yale School of Medicine analyzing sleep data from over 250 people, looking at how long they spent in various sleep stages. Then they compared those sleep cycles to MRI brain scans taken up to 17 years later. And they found critical regions of the brain were significantly smaller in people who get less deep sleep and dream sleep. The regions affected are known to undergo early changes in Alzheimer's. Researchers say more investigation into the relationship between sleep cycles and the progression of Alzheimer's is needed to understand the link. But previous studies have long highlighted a link between lack of sleep and poor brain health. The findings appear in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine. For more health news, go to foxnewshealth.com. House Call for Health. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your headlines for Tuesday, April 1st. Representative Nikema Williams resigned Monday as the chair of the Democratic Party in Georgia. This comes after pressure to step down from inside her own party, including Senator John Ossoff. Vice Chair Matthew Wilson takes over her role. Representative Lucy McBath has suspended her exploratory committee for a potential run for Georgia's governor to be with her husband as he was recently diagnosed with cancer. She has not ruled out a run entirely, but said she wants to focus on supporting her husband during his recovery. A 17-year-old was arrested Monday in Ackworth for making threats against North Cobb Christian School. Police say they received a Snapchat photo with a school shooting threat. The student has been charged with terrorist threats and is being held without bond. And registration opens today for the Peachtree Road Race. The July 4th event is expected to draw 60,000 runners and walkers. Today's weather, starting in the low 50s and rising to the mid-70s this afternoon with mostly clear skies. Tomorrow looks cloudy with highs potentially reaching the low 80s. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne.
Neil Bortz, the talkmaster, legendary voice in Atlanta radio, touched generations with his messages and his thoughts.
Oh, there he is.
Or just old. It depends on how you look at it. I come from a place of respect. Neil comes out, I guess, from a place of reality. All right. Well, welcome, Neil. We love you here at Extra.
I just realized, listening to you this morning, because let's face it, I am now... It used to be that I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Okay. And I was usually at the radio station by 5 at the latest and would do at least 3 hours of show prep before I went on the air. Now I'm getting acclimated to sleeping in.
It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it took a while. I mean, let's see, I've been retired 12 years now.
Wow, all right.
So that took a while. So now, I'm on the air this morning. I just barely made it in here. And then I realized listening to y'all that it's April Fool's Day.
Yes, sir. It is. Welcome, sir.
I got a couple of good April Fool's jokes for you.
By all means, fire away. Let's go.
Okay, you don't have a small news booth, do you?
No, we don't.
Boy, this worked like a charm back in the days of ring radio, because there was a small news booth. But all you have to do is you walk into the news booth, and you got a guy that's sitting there, he's reading the news, and you put a garbage can over in the corner of the news booth where he can see it. So right in the middle of the newscast, you walk in and you're hiding a little glass of water. You walk over to the corner and you very loudly unzip your pants. And then start slowly pouring that water into that into that trash can.
Right. I love where this is going.
See, this could be done back in the day. Now I would immediately catch a strike around here.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are not old enough by a long shot to ever remember Hank Morgan.
No, who's Hank Morgan?
Fair point.
Hank Morgan, he did play-by-play for the Atlanta Crackers. That's how far back.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
my daddy used to love going to watch the Crackers when because they started at Ponce de Leon Park before going over to Atlanta Fulton County Stadium.
So anyway, D Squared, if you're listening right now, you may want to just turn your radio off.
Oh, this could get sideways.
So, anyway. So, some guy, Hank Morgan, could not be broken on the air. There's nothing you could do to him. The trash can in the corner, nothing
fazed him.
Nothing would faze him. So one guy said, there was a little bet maybe placed. I'm going to get him. So not only does he walk into the news booth while Hank is reading the news, naked.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Then he hops up on the table where Hank has all his news copies stacked up, And he kind of squats down like he's going to do something terrible, and Hank is just reading the news. I mean, no effect, nothing. And so the guy in defeat gets off, starts to get down off the table, and he's going to have to pay off the bet, when all of a sudden there was an SBD.
Oh, yes. Silent but deadly?
Silent but deadly. And the news copy just kind of fluttered in the breeze.
Okay.
And that did it to Hank.
That got him.
That
finally got him.
It took an SVD. All right.
It took, yeah. And then one we pulled at another radio station, maybe ought to remain, but there was construction going on in the building. And I'll take credit for this one. It was me. So I got a hold of those contractors, and we went to a program director's office, and we removed the framing around his door to his office, stuck a piece of drywall in there, spackle, smoothed it out, and painted it so that there was just no door there anymore.
Yeah, that's taking it all the way, man. That's getting that's getting in the punch there.
Yeah, there was no door. So this guy comes to work, and he's walking down the hallway to his office, and his office doesn't exist anymore. So we had fun with that, and then all I had to do is go up and just push my shoulder against that drywall, and it fell into his office. They hauled it off, put the frame back up, and everything was
Dude,
cool.
that's dedication to the joke, though. I mean, that's going above and beyond.
Well, then there was the Dolphins. I did that on... I've told you about that one.
No.
I don't believe I've heard about the Dolphins.
Oh, I have, but I enlisted the help of some friends from law school for this one. And over the course of 3 days, a big controversy was going on in California over tuna boats snagging dolphins in their nets, and the dolphins were dying. And in California, oh no! So I had this guy that I posed as from the San Diego Marine Research Facility. And in the middle, I'm not going to go through this whole thing. In the middle of it, all of a sudden, he said, I've got an emergency. I have to go. And he hung up. He's gone. So the next day on the air, somebody calls up and says, I just heard from somebody that lives in California that dolphins are boarding tuna boats and killing the crews.
Odd.
And I said, well, wait a minute. Let me call this guy back. He was on the air yesterday. He said had an emergency. I called him back. He said, well, I guess the news is out there. I might as well tell you. Yes, it's true. Some dolphins trained in naval warfare
trained in the Navy SEALs.
Yeah, they're boarding tuna boats and they're finning the crews to death. Well, how'd you find out about that? Well, you know, one of the dolphins, one of the crew members climbed the mast of the tuna boat, and dolphins don't know how to shinny.
So they couldn't get up there.
Yeah, so we went the second day on that one, and then the third day was April 1st, and nobody really wasn't aware enough to figure out what I was doing. And on April the 1st, I got word from my expert in California that told me that it's a critical situation because the dolphins have boarded a nuclear submarine in San Diego Harbor by swimming up the torpedo tubes, and they're threatening to nuke Los Angeles.
Okay.
How do people just keep allowing you to keep this going?
Good, isn't it? There had to be people calling in.
Yeah,
ratings.
I guess so.
Ratings.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, anyway, the real fun there was that the AJC, since they had no internet, how are they going to track? They had a photographer and a reporter on an airplane on the way to San Diego when I finally said April Fools.
Look at there. They're ready to get. Man, can you imagine the trouble you'd have been in if they spent that money? You know, the company spent that money to send them out there.
They were
all over a joke that you caused.
Oh, they didn't like me anyway.
Oh well, yeah, I guess that's right. So that would have made them like you even less.
So, and April Fools, because I'm an April Fool. You know, I was born in April, so I've always.
Well, that's a good month.
Yeah, I've always had fun with it. Let me ask you something, because I really got nothing this morning. Okay?
Oh no, I think you got a ton right now.
Well, you were going to ask me a question about something.
I don't. What was it? Just the fact that the Democrat Party is dead as we know it.
There you go again with that.
Well, am I wrong?
Yes, you're wrong. They're going to be back. And they're going to be back in an even more terrible and dangerous form than they are now.
Well, yeah, because Rashida Tlaib, I don't know if you heard that segment.
Oh, I did.
When she was like, comrades, we're going to speak to him. And she is outright saying, I am a socialist, Marxist, communist. I want you to know it. They don't hide it anymore, Neil. This is something that they are out front with. They want people to know the path that they are charting forward. Democrats, I don't think your average, everyday center-left Democrat realizes what has happened to their party.
Well, that's because they don't listen to the average Democrat out there, the average person that says, well, I've always voted Democrat, and you go up there and ask them who Rashida Tlaib is, and they don't know.
Yeah, you're probably right. But would they know AOC and Bernie Sanders? I feel like they would. And they say the same thing. We are socialists. We are communists. We're Marxists.
Do they ever say we're communists?
No, usually they stick with socialists.
That's the word they avoid entirely.
But that's what it is.
But that still has a connotation to it, at least with a generation that thinks that communism is bad.
Well, you can make that very appealing to the dumb masses.
Yes, you can.
All you have to do for the dumb masses out, look, it is a terrible thing that you have to earn your way to prosperity in this country. It's a terrible thing.
Well, it's not fair.
Yeah, it's not fair. That's part of white culture.
Whatever that means.
Well, the National Museum of African American History and Culture, which ought to be very little more than a display of handguns. But, I shouldn't have said that.
You're yourself in trouble.
But the National Museum of American History and Culture wants you to be aware of certain signs of whiteness.
Is this the one in the Smithsonian that you're talking about?
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
And they have a little poster there, aspects and assumptions of whiteness. And one of them is hard work. That's whiteness. Individualism, that's whiteness. Objectivity. The nuclear family. If you promote and are proud of the nuclear family, mommy, daddy, children, that is whiteness. If you respect authority, like, for instance, your boss or the police, that's whiteness. Delayed gratification. Work and earn your way into this prosperity you so admire. That's whiteness. And these are the ideas that are being pushed by the Democrat Party and by socialists. And this is look, if you're somebody that barely got through high school, which was me, by the way.
Me too.
Yeah. I'll put my C- grade point average in high school up against whatever you have any day.
I gotta tell you, I think I was a D-. I mean, I barely skated by, Neil.
But anyway, these people say, that's right, I don't have to work hard. I don't have to show merit. I just because I live in America and I'm a human being, I deserve all these things. And those are the people that Democrats appeal to.
Yeah. And I'm reading an article in the Miami Herald. As you were talking about, I just did a quick search, and they talked about the apology for all that from the museum, which I just believe they're apologizing because they got caught, not because they really wanted to apologize or don't believe anything that they put out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But
of course.
The whiteness culture in the United States, the aspects and assumptions of white culture.
Well, now you know the whole joke about saying, well, it's mighty white of you.
Yes, that's right.
Because apparently we now applied everything when it comes to, all right, if it has some level of trying to enhance your portion of the American dream, well, that's white entirely.
Well, yeah. And because it's white, it's not something you should expect us to have to pay attention to or adhere to. Now, I think, and this is certainly showing up in the Hispanic community and to ever greater extents in the black community is that people are rejecting this anti-individualism, this anti-hard work. They're rejecting it and saying, no, that's not the type of society I want to live in. I want to live in a society where the harder I work, the more I get to enjoy the fruits of my labors.
That only makes sense. That's why everybody, I say everybody, most people embrace that point of view. Doesn't matter your race, your sex, none of that matters. I want to work hard and I want my hard work to pay off. I mean, that's so common sense. It's unbelievable. And most people agree with that, and most people want that to be the standard.
Well, more and more. But one thing here, the nuclear family. I mean, it seems like black thought leaders, if that's a fair phrase, keep pressing the idea that, look, it's white people that have two-parent households. White people do that. That's whiteness. You don't have to worry about that. Now, look at the statistics sometimes. 70% of births to black women in this country are out of wedlock. Okay, 70%. And if you look at the statistics at what happens to these kids, they're more likely to commit crimes. They're more likely to end up in jail being raised without a father. They're more likely to be complete failures in school. They're more likely to end up on government assistance. And the biggest tell on this, the biggest predictor on this, is being born into a fatherless household. And so, well, gee, what do we do about this? What do we do? Well, I know what we do. We start saying that the nuclear family, mom, dad, kids, that's whiteness. That white people do that. Black people don't do that. White people do that. So you take that onus off of the people that are living that lifestyle, off of the mothers who don't care who the baby daddy is, off of the baby daddies who have no sense of devotion to or responsibility toward their children. And I don't know, but that's white. That's white.
It's like what Tug has told me for a long time. The anus is on you to take care of that.
It is.
The what is on me?
Well, the anus.
The anus?
Yeah.
Onus.
Oh, onus. Yes, that's right. You misspoke, Los.
Oh, sorry. Tug told me it was one. I get it mixed
bilingual.
up.
He's bilingual.
I get it mixed up. So yeah, English is a second language at this point.
It's easy to do.
So on a completely different, I got into a little jam. Yeah, the other day.
What happened?
Buddy, that's terrible.
There was a car in the parking lot of this restaurant. One of these people that every piece of scrap paper, every McDonald's wrapper, everything, every piece of trash that they have encountered in the last 5 years has been crammed onto their dashboard.
Oh, that grosses me out.
I know. Ugh. And I got a picture. I took a picture of one of these dashboards yesterday, and I couldn't see, but the guy that driving that car was inside, and he saw me take the picture.
I like that.
So, I said, I'm sorry, sir, but your dashboard. Let me tell you this: if you showed up at my home to do some work, I don't know whether if you're a tradesman, you showed up at my home to do some work, and I saw that crap on your dashboard, I'd send you away immediately, because you have no pride in your workmanship. You're obviously. And Donna had to grab me by the elbow and take me away from them.
Well, they're disorganized. Like, this is how, Neil, this is how my wife lives. When my kids are in her car, she allows them to eat. She allows them to do whatever. And her car looks nasty all the time. And every single time I'm like, how can you live like that? How can you get in that vehicle and drive around in that thing?
Yeah, and where are you sleeping tonight?
I know. It'll be on the couch at some point.
He's like Donna.
Oh, I stepped in it again.
Yeah, goodness gracious.
Donna says you just can't help yourself, can you? You know you're going to get really hurt sometime. I got bear spray.
That's all you need, I hear. That's what I'm told. That bear spray is what you need to keep with you all the time. Neil, thank you so much. What's the plan for the day?
I'm going back to bed.
Attaboy.
There we go.
Okay.
Oh, lucky duck.
Yeah.
Neil Bortz, Talkmaster, only on Extra 106.3. The greatest of all time, right there.
Oh, yeah.
It's the truth, man. It's the truth. We love spending time
Try
with
the
you.
whole anus-onus thing on somebody today.
Dude, it's so funny. And it'll stop people in their tracks.
I'll make it a point to do that with maybe the next waitress.
Yes.
There you go.
Well, the anus is on you to take care of this.
Do you mean onus? No, I don't. Thanks, Neil.
Y'all be good.
You too. When you come back, if you're a criminal hacker, you should keep it to yourself. No, really, keep it to yourself. Some Democrat hackers not smart enough to do that, and they get what they deserve. Next on Extra.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to Extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Here are your sports headlines for Tuesday, April 1st. Atlanta Braves outfielder Jurickson Profar has been suspended by Major League Baseball for 80 games for a violation of the league's substance abuse policy, the performance enhancement drug policy to be exact. Profar will also be ineligible for postseason play when he returns later this season. On the field, the Braves are now 0-5 after a 6-1 loss to the Dodgers last night. Chris Sale is on the mound for the Braves tonight. He'll be opposed by Dustin May. First pitch is set for 10:10. You can hear that game on our sister station's brand new app, 680 The Fan. And the Hawks are back at State Farm Arena tonight as they host the Portland Trailblazers. That tip-off is set for 7:30. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
No joke. I know it's April Fool's, but no joke. You can get a really good deal to make your home, your castle again, make it the envy of the cul-de-sac again, make it that beautiful home that you swelled up with pride with when you bought it. You do that with Southern Exteriors. They take care of the entirety of the outside of your home and can make it nearly flawless. I mean, nothing's perfect, but nearly flawless. And you will be, again, the person that the person when people drive by your house going, man, that's what I want my house to look like. New windows, gutters, siding, doors, roof, millwork, whatever. Anything on the outside of your house, they can take care of for you. And here's the deal, no joke. You can get 0% financing for 12 months, or you can get 10% off the entire job, no matter how big, no matter what the job is, at Southern Exteriors. They make it so simple for you, and they've been doing this forever. I mean, 200,000 jobs under their belt, ratings through the roof. They have a foreman on site, so if you have any issue, any questions, they take care of it immediately for you at Southern Exteriors. Call them today, 877-9-SOUTHERN, southernexteriors.co. It's southernexteriors.co.
If you're the decision maker at your company, we have great news for you, for your HR department, and for your employees. A new and future-forward way to do health benefits is here from Thatch. Not only do your employees get better health benefits with Thatch, but you save an average of $1,620 per employee per year. That's right. You can save over $1,600 per employee per year. Plus, Thatch reduces the time your HR department spends administering benefits. Businesses all over the country love Thatch's breakthrough approach. Rather than a wasteful one-size-fits-all plan, Thatch empowers your employees by letting them customize their own benefits plans. And you save money and time while providing your employees with better health benefits, which works better for everyone. Book a demo with Thatch and we'll send you a $100 gift card. Visit thatch.ai/radio to book a demo for your gift card. That's THATCH.ai/radio. Thatch.ai/radio.
Atlanta, it's Mark from the Safe House. Now that President Trump has unburdened us from what could have been, our country's finally headed in the right directions. But the Democrats are screaming and yelling and losing their minds. And unfortunately, the bad guys are still here and they want your stuff. Thank you, Joe Biden. And customers are still reporting break-ins and thefts of their hard-earned valuables. Don't wait till it's too late. Get a quality safe from the Safe House. We carry the largest selection of safes in the Southeast. And remember, gun safes are sales tax-free at Atlanta Safe House. So give us a call or go to atlantasafehouse.com.
Fox on Tech.
New AI-driven software technology exists that could help U.S. Border Patrol agents and the Department of Homeland Security find fentanyl traffickers coming across the southern border. But Fox News has learned these advanced AI solutions remain underutilized or not used at all due to what the company's founder says is a bureaucratic holdup at DHS that began under the Biden administration and continues today. Sultan Megji, the CEO of Frontier Foundry, explains how his company's software can pick out which truck in line at the border is likely carrying fentanyl.
Something that we noticed is how gas is paid for in the trucks and the payments. We noticed patterns of behavior of the trucks themselves, the trailers themselves, where they ended up.
Most fentanyl enters the U.S. through legal border crossings via semi-trucks driven by American citizens. With Fox on Tech, Jennifer Griffin, Fox News.
Let's be here to enjoy the left's meltdown together. Extra 106.3 is dialed into all the latest breaking news and headlines, so you don't have to suffer through the left-wing spin. Get it right from Atlanta's only conservative voice. Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
I cannot stop laughing.
Because you know how funny it's going to be when Neil goes to breakfast with the Queen and he asks for something in particular and he tells the waitress, now the anus is on you to take care of this.
Do you want to play it, Jerry? You got to cue it up.
Oh, my God.
So we're talking to Bortsing, and Los hits him with the anus.
He said the onus.
That's right.
And immediately, because I was not going to do this, but even though it's April 1st and we were telling jokes and telling fun stories, and then it turned into doing the whole, as soon as he said, well, the onus is on you. And I was like, well, I've talked to Tug. He did say the anus is on me.
The anus?
It's a question mark.
Huge question.
And then we just had dead air for like 2 seconds. Like, well, yeah, is that wrong?
Do you mean
onus? And Neil, as the talk master, who is such the wordsmith, was like, these guys are morons. They really think it's the anus.
Onus.
Oh, onus. Yes, that's right. You misspoke, Los.
Oh, sorry.
He was so confused.
And then as he settles in, it's like, okay, I completely get what we're doing here. And I'm like, well, make sure you use that today. He's like, oh, I will. He's gonna be so excited to throw that out there today to people.
The anus.
You know he's going to tell somebody. It might be in his building. It might be where he goes to grab breakfast. It might be on the golf course he loves to go to. He's like, well, the anus is on you to take care of this.
And then the person he's on is going to have the same question mark.
And he's going to
be anus.
He's going to be giggling the entire time.
He's like those fools in Atlanta.
I'm so glad we gave the Talk Master a little bit of fun for April Fools.
So good.
Oh, he's going to have such a good time with that.
Oh, my God.
Anus?
Yes, Neil. Yes, that's exactly right.
Oh, mercy.
So much fun. We have laughed about that since we got off the air with Neil Bortz. Just cannot hold it together.
Because we keep imagining what Neil's going to do.
Yeah,
that's
right.
It's like giving the man a gun.
Because he loved it. Like you could, once he figured out the joke.
He started giggling. I'm like, all right, he's going to go have fun with this.
Yes, that's right. Oh, man, I wish he would record it. He won't, but I wish he would.
I look part where he tried to correct you.
Onus.
No, Neil. No, anus. Oh, so good. And that all generated from a place that Los used to work where the guy actually said it wrong.
It's a mistake like 25 years ago that is now like part of pop culture out of that radio station.
Oh, my God. So funny. If you're a criminal hacker, it seems like you'd want to keep that on the down low. You probably don't want the people that you know knowing about it. You definitely don't want the people that you hacked knowing about it. And yet, some people just don't get how to be a criminal, or at least a good one.
If you're going to commit a crime, what do we always say? If you're breaking the law, don't break the law.
While you're breaking the law.
If you happen to be transporting, 10 bricks of cocaine, make sure you drive the speed limit. Just do this the right way.
Don't have a taillight out.
Right. So Aubrey Cottle. Now, Aubrey Cottle is someone out of Canada, out of Ottawa. It happens to be a hacker, and it was the person who, when they had the Freedom Convoy, ended up hacking Give, Send, Go, and basically put out all the truckers' information out into the public. Well, Aubrey Caudill has taken things a step forward. Aubrey Caudill then went after the Republican Party out of Texas. And now Aubrey Caudill has a little bit of a problem on its hands. Aubrey Caudill is looking at 5 years in prison. Now, again, if you were to commit a crime, you probably shouldn't go online and explain to everybody who's responsible. Take a listen to when the initial hacking occurred.
Yes, I doxed the truckers. I did it. It was me. I hacked Give, Send, Go, baby. And I do it again. I do it 100 times.
Who's angry?
I did it. I did it. Come at me. What are you going to do? What are you going to do to me? Huh?
Put you in jail for 5 years. That's what
you've now been apprehended by the Canadian and the American police officials, authorities, and you're looking at 5 years. Here's my little hint, okay? My little thing. You need to make sure that your political ideology, your craziness, does not give the game away. Because if you go and hack something, you know what? If you're pretty good at it, you can just kind of slink away. Not a problem. Going to be really tough to track. When you then go and decide to post a video taking credit for all of it and just saying you would do it again and you can't wait and what are you going to do? Come at me?
Yes.
It tends to get authorities to go, well, this is a pretty easy admission of guilt. And so when he's going to be on trial at some point,
they're going to play that.
Here it is.
Here on the trial. Now, sir,
how do you plead? Not guilty?
Yeah. But didn't you say you did it? Didn't you do it? Yes, I did. They're going to play that.
I did. I'll do it again.
That's right. Well, okay.
But this is how poisoned some people are by their own ideology.
Well, because they feel like they're bigger. They can get away with it. Nothing is going to happen to them. I mean, look, most of the time it doesn't.
If I was to do something in the interest of winning elections for, let's say, let's say Brian Kemp runs for Senate, and I do some shady business, the last thing I'm going to tell you is tell you about my shady business.
And the last thing Brian Kemp wants you to do.
Because you know what I do? I happen to work in the shade.
Analogy.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like, this is how I'm doing it. We're not going to get this out in the open and put it in a forum or go on and make sure to put it on Twitch or any other of these broadcasting sites.
Problem is they can't contain their anger.
No, and that's in this case when it comes to Aubrey Caudill, it had a really hard time just letting things go.
They wanted to be this folk hero, this anti-hero, this person that somebody would look up to. And now all they're going to be is a person in jail. Who's looking up to that? It's like the fools that go and key the Teslas with all the cameras. Idiots. Just complete idiots. 7 o'clock hour is brought to you by Van Sant Law Group. If you're in an accident, make the right call. VanSantLaw.com. When we come back, Signalgate is over. Carolyn Levitt has said so. Next on Extra.
It's time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
I don't imagine a lot of people who will hear this commentary are really familiar with what's going on in Great Britain right now, or England, or the United Kingdom, or whatever you want to call it. We really should be paying more attention. Talk to somebody who has recently made a visit to London. Maybe for the first time. They will tell you that they were absolutely shocked at how many women are walking around in those hijabs or whatever they call them. They look like black garbage bags. Maybe they would be surprised to find out that the number one name for newborn baby males in London is Muhammad. And maybe if they look close enough, they will see that free speech is really seriously under attack in Great Britain. In fact, there is no free speech. Here's a story that came by yesterday. A toddler, maybe 3 or 4 years old, has been kicked out of his school in London for being transphobic. There's that phobia word again, a word that means an irrational fear of something. So we have a 4-year-old getting kicked out of school because he has an irrational fear of transgenders. I dug a little deeper, tried to figure out just what this kid said. The closest I can get is that he made a remark that some transgender girl in his school looked like a boy. This whole transgenderism thing is nothing less than mass hysteria. The real word is gender dysphoria. It is a mental illness, but it seems to have become a refuge for otherwise boring and uninteresting people looking for a way to be noticed. How long before that bleeds into this country? Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
Things at the ballpark are really heating up. If too much celebrating leaves you in trouble after the game, it's important to know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds. We handle bonds from the stadium to the city, and in most cases, we can have you or your loved one out in a matter of hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 770-627-3235 or online at atlbail.com.
Hey there, I'm Tara, owner and publisher of Our Town Monthly, Cobb's premier lifestyle magazine, where you'll find familiar faces, local voices, and community businesses like Denson Pepper CPA.
Hi, I'm Denson, your certified public accountant. I specialize in helping people catch up on their unfiled income tax returns.
Why would folks reach out to you, Denson?
Well, Tara, dealing with the IRS can be tricky. Did you know that you must first file your returns before establishing a repayment plan? If you don't file, the IRS can file for you, often showing a higher liability than what you actually owe.
That's crazy. What can our readers do?
Consider me your inside connection, available day or night at DensonPepperCPA.com. If your readers run afoul of the IRS, I'm here to help.
Amazing to have a resource like you, Denson, when dealing with the IRS. Thanks for choosing Our Town Monthly to promote your business. And remember, Our Town is your town at Our Town Monthly.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station. The 8 a.m. hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air.
Voters are going to the polls starting now in Wisconsin. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. In a very expensive election that'll determine if the state Supreme Court will remain left-leaning or if the balance will shift 4-3 to the right with one seat up for grabs.
Over $100 million is expected to be spent on Wisconsin's Supreme Court race between conservative Judge Brad Schimmel.
On the state Supreme Court, I'll apply the law equally because everyone has the right to feel safe.
And liberal Judge Susan Crawford.
Being a judge is really pretty simple. There's right and there's wrong, and I'll always do the right thing.
The majority of campaign donations have come from outstate billionaires like Elon Musk and George Soros.
That's Fox's Jeff Manasso. There are two special elections in Florida to fill two seats that have been held by Republicans. Ex-Congressman Matt Gaetz and National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. If the GOP candidates win, it'll give Republicans a slightly bigger House majority. In the Senate, Democrat Cory Booker spent all night talking, railing against the Trump agenda.
Placing tariffs on our biggest trade partners is beyond unfair. This drives the cost of goods up, and the consumer is the one who ends up paying the increase.
President Trump's readying a lot more tariffs tomorrow.
He's calling it Liberation Day. President Trump says he has settled on a tariff plan being imposed Wednesday.
It's going to be something that's going to bring a lot of wealth back to our country, tremendous wealth back to our country, actually.
The president is promising reciprocal tariffs, charging the same duty on imports from countries that tariff American exports.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House, and Wall Street stock futures are falling after a big sell-off in March on some tariff worries. Israel's gone on the attack again in Lebanon, killing at least 4 people.
The Israeli military says it was targeting a member of the Hezbollah militant group. It adds that what it calls a Hezbollah terrorist posed an imminent threat and had to be taken out. We're told the target had been helping Hamas plan a significant attack against Israeli civilians.
That's Jonathan Savage. America's listening to Fox News.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacin-capted Pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
You're right, and so are we. Welcome to Extra 106.3.
Tug and Los until 10. Extra 106.3. Thank you for being here. 404-741-1230 at Extra 106.3 across the social media platforms. It's election day. And down in Florida, important elections down there. Up in Wisconsin, important elections up there. $90 million has been spent. The most expensive election for a Supreme Court seat in a state in American history. So lots of things going today. And gosh, I'm praying that things turn out right, Los.
It'll be fine. Yeah. I feel good about this.
Yeah, me too.
We just have a group that's a lot more active. What we've now seen, and we'll get into this in a little while, unless you're paying them to show up, they ain't showing up right now.
Well, we saw that over the weekend with the people who clock out at noon as soon as their pay stopped for the Tesla protests.
They are not excited right now.
They wander out, and they're all weird and they're all baby boomers, the majority of them. And it's funny, I got an email from a baby boomer, Danny Floyd, reached out, and he was like, I am not one of those baby boomers. Because he don't want to be grouped. He don't want to be grouped in there.
Danny knows.
Yeah, he don't want to be grouped in there.
Danny's paid attention to what the rest of them are up to, and he's like, right. What is so wild about the baby boomer?
It just says, not this boomer. That's his subject line.
Danny is part of a group of people that were the counterculture. Like the 1960s belonged to the baby boomer. It belonged to the counterculture. It belonged to the American society that has been built largely out of World War II is not for us, and it's not helping us, and oftentimes it's making us go off to war. It's like they were the ones that were the counterculture, and now they've lived long enough to become the establishment.
Yeah.
And that's why you see that rejection by guys like Danny of like, that's not me.
Yeah, and it's so good and it's so reassuring that it is just the 20% of crazy. You know what I mean? The majority of baby boomers probably have lived through some tough times in their life, have seen it all, and they're like Danny. They're like, I reject this completely. And a lot of them voted. Now, I know the majority of 65 plus ended up voting for Kamala Harris, but there is a great portion of that generation that has figured it out. My mama being one of them. I told you, she thought she was a Democrat like 6 years ago.
Just sitting there petting her squirrels.
Yes, and
petting her raccoons.
That's
and then
right.
Realize, hey, wait a minute.
Watching Sylvester Stallone in her front yard.
Sylvester Stallone and Tulsa King will be filming in Tug's mama's neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so she gets to watch Sylvester Stallone from across the way.
The trailer park that she lives in out in Loganville, she just moved there. And it was funny because she sold the house that I grew up in. My daddy passed about 6 years ago. And
after he didn't come back for cigarettes.
Right, after I located him.
That's
after
right.
he left for cigarettes.
He went for cigarettes and didn't come back for 30 years.
I mean, it's been memorialized in a song.
One of these days, you're actually going to tell like the real story and everyone's going to feel bad. But for the time being, it's just a comedy of like, Dad left for cigarettes, never came back home.
I missed him for all those years. And look, the anus was on him.
That's right. He had to reach out. It was his job.
At some point.
So your mom got rid of the home you grew up in and moved to where she could be closer to Sylvester Stallone.
She was like, where's Sylvester filming? At Tulsa King.
The anus?
Yes.
I need to buy a place over there.
And now they're paying her $1,000 to use the corner of her yard for staging for the Tulsa King filming that's going on in the trailer park she lives in. And you think that I'm telling you a joke and this is April Fool's Day. I shared this yesterday. It's not. It is completely the truth.
He is filming. They were filming in Oklahoma last year.
That's right.
As part of season 1. The next season, they're filming in and around all of Atlanta.
Yeah, and she told me this weeks ago, and I was like, Mom, I just don't know if that sounds right. And she's like, well, that's what they've told me. I hope so. I just got my fingers crossed because he's a good-looking man. That's what she said. And then she called. I was over South Carolina this weekend. She shot me a text. Call me soon.
Uh-oh.
I was like, oh, my gosh. She's like, and then she. I was
normally
like,
that's like a cousin's been busted.
Of course. Curtis is back in jail. And she hit me with that, and I was like, is everything okay?
They found his meth lab.
That's right.
He's in real trouble this time.
It's bad news. It's bad news. And so I said, is everything okay? And she was like, no, it's great news. And I was like, oh, my gosh, she hit the lottery? Did she go to Cherokee, win a big jackpot on the penny slots? What happened? And it turns out they're paying her $1,000 for some of the staging that'll happen in the corner of her yard in the trailer park she lives in over in Loganville. And she's going to not only be paid $1,000, she's going to get to watch the filming come down. And she loves Sylvester Stallone. So this was just a great day for her. She thought it was fantastic, and I'm happy for her.
And he's 78 years old. So, I mean, we're
Mama's early 70s. So
I know, but this wheelhouse here.
Oh, yeah. She was like,
this isn't out of the realm of possibility.
She was like, I don't remember that movie he was in. He's fighting somebody, but he was a good-looking man.
Man, what if you ended up with like a Sylvester Stallone new dad?
Kimmer would be jealous.
Yeah. Oh, beat Kimmer to the punch.
That's right. But, I mean, Stallone as a stepfather wouldn't be that bad.
It'd be kind of cool.
It would be. It'd be great. I'm actually pulling for it now.
Yeah.
That Sylvester just for some reason, is he married?
I mean, he is, but still. But it would sound like a lie, though. Because you would tell everybody, hey, my daddy is Sylvester Stallone. Like, no, he's not. He's my stepdaddy.
Yeah. No, it's not. Yeah, he is. Picture Mama and big old muscle butt.
That's right.
Stallone.
Just sitting on his car.
Or sitting on her car.
That's right.
She's got that little Dodge. I forget it's not like a van, but it's an SUV, but it's kind of looks like a van. I don't know what they call them, but he's just propped up against it. With those. You remember how the 80s they would do would do those poses or whatever they always had.
Yeah, it was a glamour shot poses.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. And Stallone sitting in front of Mama's trailer and leaned up against her car.
One can only hope.
That would be fantastic.
One can only dream.
That'd be the greatest story of all time. Mama moved to this trailer park just to be close to Sly, and Sly found Mama.
And Sly hooked up with Mama.
It was predestined.
Oh, okay. I'm hopeful.
Yeah,
again, out of the realm of
she gets $1,000 regardless. She's getting $1,000 because they're staging there in her yard.
Right. If you told me here are the possibilities of things that could go on, I would have said that getting $1,000 from Tulsa King and having Sly Stallone possibly acting across the street from your home within view, I would have said, okay, that's like close to zero, and yet it happened. So
anything is possible.
That's right.
Anything's possible.
You hear that, Jerry? Anything's possible with Jesus in your life.
Well, that's first of all.
What Kevin Garnett told me.
There you go.
Yeah. But the Lord is the most important thing. So
and then Sylvester Stallone.
And Sylvester second, yes. I love it. So that's April Fool's Day for us. We've had...
that's all truthful.
That is 100% correct. I kid not at all. I'm not joking even a little bit. All of that, even the way it came down. I'm not fabricating it to try to be funny. It's really the way it came down.
Text your wife and say you want a divorce.
I can know.
And then say, April Fools.
No. I would never even say, no way.
Then tell her to calm down.
That's right.
No. I'm not doing that.
I
mean, if I say, I might say, hey, the house is on fire.
Text your wife and say that
never a divorce.
That the test came back positive. And then right back, April Fools.
The test for what? I didn't know you went to the doctor. What's the matter? I got the herp.
It's all eating me up.
That's right. It's not just on my lip. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It's real bad.
It's gross. And it's awful. And I'm sorry I brought it home from the Navy. And I didn't tell you about it.
But Tug, you haven't been in the Navy in 20 years. But I brought it home.
It bubbled up. It flared up. I didn't know it was coming.
It never goes away.
It never. It's in you forever. And it is the truth. Goodness gracious.
April Fools.
What do you think? Signalgate is over. OVER. And Los had said this was coming. Carolyn Levitt has just confirmed it. He said this thing's going to have 48 hours. And what did it have? About 48 hours.
48, 72 hours, yeah.
Now, the mainstream media tried to hang on to it as long as they could because they got nothing else. How do we hang on to this? How do we keep this in? We flip it over to MSNBC nearly every morning, and they're not even talking about it.
Yesterday, they didn't even touch it.
It didn't even come up. Carolyn Levitt put the lid on it.
What's the status of that review, and what is the status of National Security Advisor Mike Waltz?
As the president has made it very clear, Mike Waltz continues to be an important part of his national security team, and this case has been closed here at the White House as far as we are concerned. There have been steps made to ensure that something like that can obviously never happen again, and we're moving forward, and the president and Mike Waltz and his entire national security team have been working together very well. If you look at how much safer the United States of America is because of the leadership of this team.
No scalps. You get nothing.
Nope.
Was it embarrassing? Yes. Was it, does it need to be cleaned up as she referenced? Absolutely. But it is a nothing burger. We told you that from the get-go that this was nothing, and it was just that, nothing.
It was largely a move by the left as well as the establishment Republicans who didn't want to vote for Hegseth, but they also feared what happens when Donald Trump and Elon Musk end up training their sights on me. You know, if you're Lindsey Graham and you're prancing around as Lady Graham out of South Carolina and you want to go ahead and get reelected, well, there's one person that can do it for you outside of you trying to do what you're going to do. That's Donald Trump saying, hey, I need Lady Graham to, help take care of the establishment Republicans for me.
Lady Graham.
Well, it's what it is.
No, I know.
So, but I mean, he was part of that group that were like, they weren't all on board with Hegseth.
No.
And so it was an opportunity to get rid of him if you wanted to.
Yeah. And look, I'm just glad that Trump is so even-keeled this time around, because I think in the first administration, he may have made a change. Even though he had handpicked the right folks, in the first administration, it was a little more chaotic. This time you gave him 4 years to plan, and everything is going to plan. Nothing's perfect. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. You had the little hiccup. You had the speed bump, if you will. And Donald Trump's like, nothing. I'm going to ignore any of you fools that are coming at me saying I need to fire people. I've got the people in place that I want, and they will remain. And that just sets the Dems and the libs and the commies, that just pushes them right off the edge.
There's bigger fish to fry, and I'm glad that they're paying attention to it. You still have, obviously, we're going to see what happens with the tariffs. And the tariffs that we're going to institute tomorrow. Happy Tariffs Day. We'll see how this is going to play out. But once those go into effect, and we'll see what the countries around the world decide to do about them, that's going to help decide economic and tax policy. And so that's going to be the next push. Is we've already heard from, I know Buddy Carter had brought this up, and we've heard from a number of different other representatives who have said they think they can get it for 10 years. They don't think they can get it to perpetuity, but they believe that the tax code and the tax policy, however it's set up, is going to go for about 10 years, but they've got to hammer out the details.
And that would be beneficial for companies who can make a plan. And that's when companies are the most successful. Kind of like this administration. They had time to plan, and they're successful. Companies, they have to plot out their strategy so they can be successful. They have to know what tax policy is in front of them before they start making investments. So this is going to be a good thing for them as well. I do believe the tariffs are going to be a grand slam. I think the tariffs are going to work just as we expect they will. And you've already seen Mexico. You see China making adjustments. You see all of Europe making adjustments. Everybody knows what's about to happen tomorrow. And I mean, the numbers are through the roof of what the tariffs could do for America in the hundreds of millions of dollars.
Well, one of the benefits that we've already seen are the amount of countries that are committed to, we want to send operations to the United States and develop our products there. Now, that's economically what it's supposed to be, but it's also a belief. When the backbone of America is our economic system, and when it is strong, it makes everyone else associated strong. So that's why you see the Japanese basically saying, hey, we'll commit to coming in. Taiwan, hey, we'll commit to sending resources your way and working within there. Same thing with Mexico. That is what I believe this tariff plan is going to accelerate.
Billy is in Canton at 404-741-1230. Billy, what's up?
Hey, what's going on?
Hello, Billy.
I don't know. Hey, buddy. I just wonder if nobody's mentioned this, but the lady who testified before Congress the other day for NPR is actually tangled up with that Signal app. They run that Signal app also. That's what.
Yeah, she's on the board.
She's on the board
yeah.
there. Yep. And
it just seems a little coincidental with,
I understand
everything that's happened in the last 4 years. I mean, not trying to.
No, Billy.
Conspiracy theorist.
No, Billy, I'm just about to take the words right out of your mouth. Being what we have seen over the last 6 years, there is no reason not to be asking questions like that from what we've seen out of this federal government and the establishment.
Exactly.
There you go, Billy. Thank you so much for the call.
If I told you
just
that,
being dialed in, I love the fact that Billy is like trying to put the pieces together because that's what we're all doing.
He's paying attention to that, and credit to Billy. You fooled him once, shame on you. It's like, okay, he's not going to get fooled again. You actually had, 51 intelligence officials that told you that the Biden laptop was not real. It was Russian propaganda. It's Russian disinformation. All right, it was real the whole time. All right, these people will do anything they can to derail and to save their own skin. And so do you really consider it to be outside of the realm of possibility that, yes, you could have had user error? We added this journalist to this Signal account. Is it possible that somebody added him from the outside?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely it is.
Now, the Occam's razor is, the obvious answer is he was probably added by accident.
Yep.
But you can't just blindly go with the obvious answer on everything.
Because you've been lied to.
Because you've been lied
for
to.
so long. Including that illegals are not here to vote. They don't have a Social Security card.
We played the audio earlier. Doge, and what they have found is that you have millions of people that were given basically Social Security numbers and the ability, here, go vote, and you're going to get the max payout when it comes to taxes.
That's exactly right.
They're illegal.
Max benefit, max
They're not
payout.
supposed to be here.
And they're in the millions. They were looking for fraud, waste, and abuse when they stumbled upon the Social Security scam that was being used and implemented by the Biden administration to make sure that your vote didn't count, to cancel out your vote, to cancel out common sense, and to backfill with the people that they invited in. It was all a concerted effort.
Remember, we were told, well, they can't vote. They're not getting taxpayer money.
You saw the mainstream media say it every day. You're a fool for believing that. You can't believe that these people have no rights to anything. We must help them. We must send them money.
They're just here to do the jobs that regular Americans won't do.
And they told you that over and over and over again. And now it's being discovered. This is just the first of many discoveries too, Los. This is just the first of many that is going to open your eyes to what was happening for the last 4 years. But more than that, I would say for the last 20 years. It's all built up to what happened in the last 4 years. 8 o'clock hours brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier expert. 770-GET-HEAT. CentralHeat.com is their website. You reach out to them. They'll take care of the pollen out. At least in your house. I can't help it outside, but they can keep it from getting into your inside of your house, making it a no sneeze, no cough, no allergy zone. A sanctuary, if you will. 770-GET-HEAT, CentralHeat.com. Europe is over. The USA is the only beacon of freedom left in the world. Next on Extra.
Finally, a president that will fight for American values.
The American dream is surging bigger and better than ever before.
And finally, an Atlanta news station that covers it the right way. Extra 106.3 isn't about traffic and weather. We care about the stories that matter most to you, your family, and your community. Get traffic and weather on your phone and get Atlanta's only conservative conversation right here on Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
If you're the decision maker at your company, we have great news for you, for your HR department, and for your employees. A new and future-forward way to do health benefits is here from Thatch. Not only do your employees get better health benefits with Thatch, but you save an average of $1,620 per employee per year. That's right. You can save over $1,600 per employee per year. Plus, Thatch reduces the time your HR department spends administering benefits. Businesses all over the country love Thatch's breakthrough approach. Rather than a wasteful one-size-fits-all plan, Thatch empowers your employees by letting them customize their own benefits plans. And you save money and time while providing your employees with better health benefits, which works better for everyone. Book a demo with Thatch and we'll send you a $100 gift card. Visit thatch.ai/radio to book a demo for your gift card. That's THATCH.AI/radio. Thatch.ai/radio.
Hey, this is Tom from The Honest Car Guy. We help you buy your next pre-owned car or truck honestly. We guarantee each vehicle we sell will come with a copy of the bill of sale showing what we paid for it. You pay what we pay, plus a disclosed fee. Guaranteed. Honesty is the best policy, and we guarantee it. Finally, a pre-owned car and truck buying process that you can trust.
Get an honest car buy from The Honest Car Guy. Call 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME-1, or visit honestcarguy.com. Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants, Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates, Inc., DBA Master Plan Retirement Consultants. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
Retirement means different things to different people. Some folks want to travel the world. Some folks want to spend more time with grandkids. For me, I'm looking forward to spending more time with my guitar. Whether extravagant and robust or simple and cozy, every retirement needs a plan. You wouldn't take a trip without directions. You have to know where you are before you know where you're going. Master Plan Retirement Consultants have helped many like you plan for their own retirement. Not only does Master Plan help you create the roadmap, they join you on the journey. So whether you want to travel the world, become a pickleball champ, or just looking for a good porch, a sturdy rocking chair, and an acoustic guitar, remember to plan well, because the destination is worth it. Visit masterplanretire.com to schedule your complimentary consultation today.
Hey, it's a Kimmer. Okay, you're driving along. Suddenly you hear that horrible sound of metal and crunching. It's an accident. Even if it's a little minor fender bender, man, that could be a nightmare. First, obviously, take care of yourself. But before you make a deal with an insurance company or anybody else, call David Van Sant with Van Sant Law. You know why? Because he used to work for the insurance company, so he knows how to get the right settlement and right away. Van Sant Law. Don't forget, if you don't get paid, they don't get paid. Protecting your interests. Insurance is great, but it's complicated. 855-GA-INJURY or vansantlaw.com.
Atlanta Braves fans, May is Military Appreciation Month, and a great time to show your patriotism by purchasing a VIP table at The Warrior Alliance 4th Annual Veteran Impact Awards and Gala. The event will be held on Thursday, May 22nd at the Coca-Cola Roxy Theater at the Battery, Atlanta, and features dining, live entertainment, and Georgia-based veterans being honored for the significant contributions they are making in our communities. Purchase your VIP table today or make a donation at thewarrioralliance.org.
Join the Braves for an extra special Kids Club Day on April 6th during opening weekend at Truist Park. Fans can celebrate the grand opening of the new Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Park, which offers more than 30,000 square feet of space dedicated to creating a fun experience for kids of all ages. Kids Club members can also look forward to a player Q&A, the Chris Sale Triple Crown Gate Giveaway, and more. Visit Braves.com/Kids Club to see all of the fun and get your tickets to the first Kids Club Day of the season.
If the left made any sense, they would be right. Listen to Extra 106.3. The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your headlines for Tuesday, April 1st. Representative Nikema Williams resigned Monday as the chair of the Democratic Party in Georgia. This comes after pressure to step down from inside her own party, including Senator John Ossoff. Vice Chair Matthew Wilson takes over her role. Representative Lucy McBath has suspended her exploratory committee for a potential run for Georgia's governor to be with her husband as he was recently diagnosed with cancer. She has not ruled out a run entirely, but said she wants to focus on supporting her husband during his recovery. A 17-year-old was arrested Monday in Ackworth for making threats against North Cobb Christian School. Police say they received a Snapchat photo with a school shooting threat. The student has been charged with terrorist threats and is being held without bond. And registration opens today for the Peachtree Road Race. The July 4th event is expected to draw 60,000 runners and walkers. Today's weather, starting in the low 50s and rising to the mid-70s this afternoon with mostly clear skies. Tomorrow looks cloudy with highs potentially reaching the low 80s. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne.
8 o'clock hour brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier experts. 770-GET-HEAT. CentralHeat.com is their website. Democrat Party is done, and Europe is done. And this is something that people are still shouting, well, Europe is our ally. And they keep making that argument. And for a long time, maybe even decades and decades, they were. They no longer represent the same things that the United States represents. And J.D. Vance brought that up in his speech in Munich, where he talked about how they are moving away from freedom of speech. They are moving away from basic freedoms in Europe, and that's across the continent. You're seeing people being arrested for posting memes. Freedom of speech is under fire seemingly around the world, and the beacon of hope is the United States of America. France certainly is not escaping this.
No, and their populist leader, the person who is ahead by 17 percentage points in Le Pen, she is now going to prison, as they have decided, because of a financial deal in which they believe that she was using, I think it was over 17 years, they were saying that there was $4 million that was used in an inappropriate manner.
So basically, they have two different ways that they're elected in their national election, and then there's a European-wide part of the governance in the EU, and you can't cross the monies. Like, you can't use European money in the EU to get yourself elected in France, in her case, or vice versa. And apparently that happens with regularity with every politician. But the ones that go against the narrative, the ones that go against the globalism, they will needle you and use it against you and put you in jail.
So she's getting 4 years and being told that you cannot take part in the 2027 election, which essentially takes the person who's going to win and who was far more aligned with what we have going on in our country than what France does. What I'm telling you is this. France is dead. Democracy no longer lives there. Britain is falling to the Muslims. We're in this for ourselves, boys and girls. Like, Europe is no longer our friend.
They don't have anything in common with us anymore.
Europe is just a globalist colony, okay? That's all it exists as. And so this is going to sound controversial, and you know what? You might take it as that for the time being, but eventually you're going to come around to recognizing the real truth to this. The biggest friend we have in this fight against globalism, because there's more of them than there are of us, is Vladimir Putin. Now, that's supposed to go against the whole narrative of Putin. Putin's evil. Putin's the only person who is aligned against the globalist that is going on throughout Europe. Europe wants to continue this fight in Ukraine with the idea of smashing Putin. Why? It's not because they think he's evil. It's because they know that he is far more like Donald Trump than anybody else. That dude is about populism and about nationalism, and that's a threat to their globalist dreams. That's why they want him gone. Has nothing to do with anything else. And so what I'm pointing out, we had said it after J.D. Vance went to Germany. It's now been very much confirmed. Europe is not interested.
Have zero interest.
In being anything like us any longer, or democracy or freedom of speech. They are strictly on the globalists. They are all into the cabal. And so it's just us. It's just you and me, boys and girls, and Tug and Jerry. This is what we got here.
Now, the folks who would be voting for Le Pen in France, they see the same things that you and I see. But those elites, they despise you, just like the elites in the United States despise you. There is no doubt about it. There are people in Europe that want to save the continent, but there's just not, they don't have the ability, because like what we saw with Donald Trump, they will lock you up. They will lock up their political enemies, just like they're doing with Marine Le Pen.
There's a multitude now, whether it's in Brazil, whether it's in France, whether it was here. All right, this is what the globalist communists do. They go after their primary political rival and they put them in prison. That is the goal each and every time. And do you ever notice how it's just so interesting that these criminals on the right just so happen to commit crimes when they're about to win elections?
Yeah. Have you noticed that?
Right? Like, 78-year-old man, never been accused of anything. Suddenly, here's 4 indictments. Here's what we're doing in order to get rid of this person. It's no different. This is Banana Republic sort of stuff. We are in the fight for freedom and democracy. Anyone who tells you it's a threat to democracy, they're the damn threat to democracy.
You're right.
What's going on in Europe
You're
is the
exactly
threat to democracy. In fact, Europe is over, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, if you want to look at some of our other allies around the world, Australia and Canada, they both died during COVID.
That's right.
All right.
They were locking people up, putting them in camps.
We're the last ones standing. We are the only place. Now, we have to be the example moving forward of, if you can fix your society, come back our way. But they're not our friends. They're not our allies. They're not about anything Donald Trump is doing. I can't believe we're tariffing our friends. To hell with it. This is us. You know what? If Vladimir Putin wants to do a deal, I'm going to look at him and go, you're about the only person right now who actually understands what we're trying to do here and actually looks eye to eye with what we're trying to pull off.
Europe's done, and it's not just France.
Putin's my friend far more than the British or the French are at this point.
Right, and people are going to hear that going,
deal with it. That's the truth.
It's not wrong. Romania's doing the same thing. The Netherlands are doing the same thing. You're seeing the same things happen all over Europe. They are not on our side.
And you know what? A couple of years ago, pre-Donald Trump, saying this, it would have been like, whoa, that's seditious. No, it's the truth. The truth is we should be lining out a piece with Vladimir Putin and working on what the world's going to look like with that guy moving forward, not the rest of Europe. The rest of Europe is gone.
And
And we had to save it twice in 1 century, and it still fell.
And it still fell by their own means, by their own decisions. And now they're fighting anything that would save it. Anything that looks like a person that would be, let's just take France just because we started with them. If you are in favor of France as a nation, if you're in favor of the traditions of France, being a French patriot, you are the enemy inside your own country. Remember when Joe Biden called half the country a threat to democracy? Extremists? It's exactly what's happening in France today.
That's the temperature. That's what's going on. And it's an illness. Once you have it, it's cancerous. You got to cut it out. You got to get rid of it. We did. We threw them all out. We told the whole faculty lounge, y'all got to go. And then we got the world's richest man to roll in with big balls and his group of other computer people and say, find all the waste, fraud, and abuse, and let's cut it out of here. I mean, we're on the precipice of the Department of Education being a non-entity and completely gone. USAID has already been gutted. Like, we're doing what we're supposed to be doing in order to get rid of this stuff. In Europe, not the case. They're full go on globalism.
No question about it. But you're going to hear it. You will hear it, that we're abandoning our allies. You're going to hear that.
They're not our allies any longer.
Because they have nothing in common with you. They don't care about any sort of freedom. Freedom is not on the docket for them. It is authoritarianism, approaching totalitarianism.
All they're doing is asking us to fit the bill for whatever silliness they're involved in.
And they've proven that by not being able to field a Navy that can protect the Suez Canal.
They go, hey, the Americans will bail us out, right? Right? Y'all going to come bail us out?
No, you always have. We're pals, right?
We are the last place on earth. This is the last battlefield for true democracy and freedom. You want a representative republic, you're going to have to vote for it. You're going to have to fight for it. Then you're going to have to talk to your neighbors about it, and you're going to have to tell them what your belief system, as far as what is going on in the rest of the world, has been turned on its ear. Freedom is only existing in a handful of places around the world, and one of them is right here.
It's unbelievable to think that we're at this point, though. And that's why it's so jarring to a lot of people.
You have thought police in Britain.
No, that's right. If you're praying inside your house, they can kick open your door and arrest you. Tell me where you think that's okay. Tell me where that shares a commonality with the United States, because I can't find it.
It's not there.
It doesn't exist. That's right. But people are going to say that we're insane. We're the conspiracy theorists. Now, even 50% of our own people are listening right now, going, I don't know if what they're saying is true.
That might be too far. All right, so if you need like something to watch, all right, go at some point. You can find it anywhere. Go watch V for Vendetta.
Great movie.
Great movie to show you what happens to totalitarianism and how thought police and the control of the press and everything that occurs from there.
Rainy Day on Vacation. About 3 hours. It's a long movie.
You can
so
burn
good.
through it when you see what happens. And that is, in my opinion, largely what you have going across Europe, where it's this creep. It was, well, we're doing this in the interest of safety. Well, we're doing this in the interest of modernization. Well, we're doing this in the interest of, we don't want to just have Europe for Europe. We want to make sure we open up some borders and have some diversity. And slowly but surely, the creep ends up taking over everything. And that's where they're at now, where just the idea of talking about, British laws And you will have these enclaves that'll be like, no, there's no Sharia law here. This is how we run this. In France, you have no-go zones for police.
And did you see the French police running
it's
from?
It's like the third time I've seen those videos.
Yeah.
They show up in an area and the people chase them off.
And the French police run away because they're terrified
of how violent the migrants are.
And that I know of, they're not able to carry firearms. I think they have batons, maybe some bear spray. That's about it.
Some bear spray.
Giorgia Meloni is the only hope for Europe. She's the only hope, and they despise her.
They'll deal with her.
Yeah, I'm sure she'll be not surprised at all. Wouldn't be surprised at all. But she's the only hope that entire continent has.
Yeah, France died yesterday.
Yes, it did. It is.
And no coming back from that.
I don't think there is either, dude. And if they do, it will take a mighty war.
Oh, you're going to need another Bastille Day.
That's exactly right.
You're going to have something pretty big to bounce back from taking the person who's going to win your election
and putting them in jail. It happened in the United States. We were able to bounce back, but we have a different set of laws and different set of rules that made it even possible. And they still fought us tooth and nail.
Yes.
They still cheated, lied, and stole. And today, how much do you think of that cheating and lying and stealing will go on in Wisconsin and Florida? Because I bet a bunch.
I'm willing to say this. Because of what the percentages were in the 2024 election, when everyone points out, well, look, Donald Trump only got like 50.2% of the vote. Let's remove the 10 or 20 million illegals and let's see what your numbers are now. I'm willing to bet he won extremely easily, and that's part of the reason why they're so perturbed. They pulled out all the stops. They gave everything in order to be like, we're going to solidify globalism in this country, and they went down to a reality star.
One that they tried to lock up.
They went down to somebody who told you can grab him by the pee. And you know what? He was right.
That's right.
And he just grabbed him by the pee.
And he's been right.
He just grabbed y'all by the pee.
That's right. You don't have to like the way he talks. You don't have to like the things he does.
He's right about everything.
But he's right.
Happy pre-tariff day.
That's exactly right. For all those that are worried about the tariffs, do not be. Things are coming that will benefit you and your family in the United States of America. I believe it. I do. And I hope you do too. When we continue on Extra 106.3, oncologists are signaling a warning to those who would pay attention. Next on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3.
Latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Here are your sports headlines for Tuesday, April 1st. Atlanta Braves outfielder Jurickson Profar has been suspended by Major League Baseball for 80 games for a violation of the league's substance abuse policy, the performance enhancement drug policy to be exact. Profar will also be ineligible for postseason play when he returns later this season. On the field, the Braves are now 0-5 after a 6-1 loss to the Dodgers last night. Chris Sale is on the mound for the Braves tonight. He'll be opposed by Dustin May. First pitch is set for 10:10. You can hear that game on our sister station's brand new app, 680 The Fan. And the Hawks are back at State Farm Arena tonight as they host the Portland Trailblazers. That tip-off is set for 7:30. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
I love this post from Marvin James. He is a guy that runs the Georgia High School Sports Association media director. And he says, it's April Fool's Day, so think about that before you post, repost, clap back, or whatever. Just relax. Make sure you know what you're talking about before you start sharing, before you start responding. That way you don't look like a knucklehead. The one thing I can tell you that there's no joke about is that inside our home, I can sleep comfortably through the night with the temperature, and I have a sanctuary that I'm not sneezing and coughing. Now, when I walk outside, different story altogether. I'm having trouble this morning just keep my throat clear, and the nasal passages. And when you talk for a living, it makes it difficult. But in my home, no problem at all. Central heating and air conditioning. That's the reason. Chuck and his team, second generation, locally owned and operated business. Since 1946, 47, they've been doing it for so long. They are your Atlanta Carrier experts, and they'll use those Carrier products to clean the air, to purify the air, and turn that house into a sanctuary for you, especially during this time of year when you have a different color car. It's not the color car you bought, but that pollen's everywhere. I was walking in from the garage here at the Battery Atlanta, Dickey Broadcasting Company, and in the garage, there's those pollen pods everywhere. How'd they get in there? This place got a roof. How do they even get in there? It makes no sense, but they're everywhere. Central Heating and Air Conditioning will not let that stuff get into your house. 770-GET-HEAT or centralheat.com.
There's a tidal wave of clean car happiness sweeping across Braves country. Tidal Wave Auto Spa is your go-to car wash destination for a game day ready ride. Experience Major League Clean at Tidal Wave, the official car wash of the Atlanta Braves. Stay clean car happy all season long with membership discounts, exclusive giveaways, and more. Visit TidalWaveAutoSpa.com/Braves for details.
My car is happy. I am happy. Tidal Wave Auto Spa.
Join A Second Chance Bail Bond CEO Daniel Madelon and host Tug Coward for the weekly radio show Back Your Blue. They will highlight special initiatives, criminal justice programs, and community events aimed at keeping our communities safer. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to learn some good news about and from the law enforcement and justice communities. This week's guests are Major Chiquita Maldonado and Lieutenant Nicole Culberson of the Gwinnett County Sheriff's Office Mental Health Task Force. Tune in on Saturdays or catch up on all past episodes wherever you get your podcasts or at thepodcastpark.com.
No one plans on going to jail, but when it happens, it's important that you know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds, where we believe everyone deserves a second chance. Whether your loved one's been arrested in Cherokee, Clayton, or any of the other metro Atlanta counties in between, A Second Chance Bail Bonds works fast to help expedite release within hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 404-BAIL out or online at atlbail.com.
We all know that life can be unpredictable. The moment you're planning that family trip and then the next somebody is sick. And that's why I want to talk to you about the Jace case, your ultimate safety net when emergencies strike. The Jace case isn't just that mess of medications behind the mirror up in the cabinet. It's an organized doctor-prescribed case of life-saving tools paired with a set of cards explaining exactly how and when to use these medications. The case is peace of mind in a time of uncertainty. Imagine having your essential prescriptions right at your fingertips, ready to go when you need them most. Whether it's a sudden allergy flare-up or a common cold, you won't have to scramble to find the help you need. It's about taking charge of your health and being prepared no matter what life throws at you. When you order your Jace case today, use the promo code BECK at jace.com for a discount. Don't wait for the unexpected to catch you off guard. Be ready with the right medications on hand the moment you need them at jase.com, jace.com, promo code BECK. You've heard me talk about Relief Factor and how many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it, including me. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free as well with their 3-week quick start for only $19.95. But Relief Factor is an easy, affordable way to see how it could literally change your life. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor doesn't just mask the pain temporarily. It reduces or eliminates pain. In fact, the longer you take it, the more effective it is. Trying it couldn't be easier with their 3-week quick start for $19.95, less than $1 a day. Just takes one phone call, 1-800-4RELIEF, 1-800-4RELIEF. Wherever you're having pain, every day you feel better is a day you live better. Try Relief Factor's 3-week quick start today. ReliefFactor.com. Call 1-800-4RELIEF. 1-800-4RELIEF.
Let's be here to enjoy the Left's Meltdown together. Extra 106.3 is dialed into all the latest breaking news and headlines, so you don't have to suffer through the left-wing spin. Get it right from Atlanta's only conservative voice. Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
Tug and Los until 10 on Extra 106.3. Paging Dr. Medina. Paging Dr. Medina. Lo's been telling you this for as long as I can remember, 4 years at least.
Hello.
Welcome. This was on the Children's Health Events TV network. It's they've social media obviously, and they do YouTube channels. And these oncologists are screaming to the top of their lungs that they're seeing a correlation with cancer and COVID, but not the COVID virus. I want you to hear them. Listen to this.
I have a friend who was in remission from cancer and had been doing great, and her doctor insisted that she got the shot, and like 3 weeks later the cancer was back full blown. She went to stage 4.
How many? Well, because it affects the immune system.
Exactly.
How many oncologists are noticing the rise of cancers and rare cancers after the COVID shot?
It's everywhere, and oncologists are screaming at the top of their lungs, and they're seeing a correlation, not with COVID, the virus, but when the vaccine rolled out, an uptick in cancers over the military complex. I went through what's called the Department of Defense epidemiological system, and that particular system showed a 40% uptick in cancers starting in 2021.
40% uptick in cancers, not because of the virus, but because of the vaccine.
Feels like something I said 4 years ago when I started talking about that medical data.
As soon as I read it, I was like, I've heard this before, but way before now. I heard this 4 years ago when I would talk to Los in the hallway about it and talk to him when he would come on the show and talk about it. And no one was willing to say it, or the people that were would get censored on social media. They would be shut down by the mainstream media. And now oncologists are screaming, people, please wake up. Please listen.
All right, 2 factors here. 1, we don't know what this does to the immune system long term. We don't have any data on this. You basically had a trial, a human trial that was done on the American population, with the idea of, well, let's see if this works. We don't know. This wasn't tested in this way. And so one of the issues we had was what happens to some of the T cells that seem to be going to sleep. Your cancer-fighting cells, what seems to happen? So when that woman, that oncologist says, here's what happened to someone I know, cancer dormant, cancer under control, cancer comes raging back after this, it's because what did we do to our immune systems? Okay, that's number 1. Number 2 is this. The military, with all of their data, knew this was going on. And when it came to light, and this was now 3-4 years ago, what they did was they smoothed their data. That's what I brought up when I said, here's what they did.
And I remember that being out there.
What they did is when they found a spike in cancer by as much as 40%, some of them even larger than that within the military, what they did is rather than say, oh, look at 2020, 2019, 2018, the government said, well, our data was wrong for those years. And so they smoothed their data so it made it look like it wasn't a crazy trend that happened. The truth is, you had a 40% spike in cancers because of the shots that were given to military personnel.
You're seeing people say this out loud, people getting to appointments, and they're hearing this when they go to their own appointments, that cancer is exploding, and that like hematologists are seeing it. With blood cancers, you were lied to. That's the thing that I still don't think people, that they really, like, they know it, but until they see the evidence with their own eyes, they can hear it and they can believe it. But when you see it with your own eyes and you know someone who's gone through this, that's when it really sets in. Oh my God, this was real.
Yesterday, you had German scientists that ended up publishing a study, and I can post it out there if you want to see it. Basically, it's mRNA COVID jabs change genetic structures in ways linked to cancer and autoimmune disorders. And here's the gist of it. Scientists call the changes caused by Pfizer and Moderna shots epigenetic. They occur around the DNA's core and activate genes in ways that promote tumor growth. Like, we all, if you just... as a species, we all have the ability to have cancer. Like, cancer's just not something that's like, oh, I smoke cigarettes or I drink this or I do whatever. It's like cancer has a possibility of showing up within all of us. But it's, do we have the immune system in order to fight cancer, keep cancer at bay, keep cancer from ever really becoming an issue for any one of us? What happens when you put that portion of your immune system to sleep?
It shows up.
And that is what's been going on. It's that these T cells, for lack of a better term, go to sleep, and cancer is allowed to grow.
And all those people
who told you were wrong, by the way, for any of this stuff,
they belong in jail. They absolutely belong in jail. The people that, it'd be like if you went to a restaurant and they served you food and it had poison in it, they would go to jail. You can't, I mean, it's illegal to do that. It seems obvious.
Well, the term that gets used is turbo cancer.
Yeah, over and over.
Now, it's not that it's some sort of form of like, oh, it's a really aggressive, fast cancer. It's what happens to any human when your defenses are not available.
Yeah.
It seems faster, but it's what it is.
It's exactly
right. It's not like you've got some aggressive form of cancer. This is what all cancers do. But when you don't have any defenses within your body, that's why they're so much faster.
But dude, I was even seeing an article about like kids that are very young showing up with colon cancer. And things that you would never suspect. They don't even go together. You hear the childhood cancers. Colon cancer is never one of them. That's never associated with young kids. And yet we're seeing it. And doctors are talking about it. And it's being discussed. Something changed. Something had to change. It didn't just happen on its own. And this is where I said these people belong in jail, man. They do. And yet I know nothing's going to happen to any of them. They're going to get away scot-free. They'll arrest Marine Le Pen. They'll arrest Donald Trump because they don't like him. But people that actually killed people and knew what was happening, keeping quiet or continuing to promote, will get away scot-free.
The Biden administration, because, again, this was done in conjunction with the Trump administration, but as Donald Trump said it, and I firmly believe him because he did say this and he doesn't seem to be crapping on you about this stuff. He was like, this is never going to be mandatory. This is like, here's an option for you. Here's how Operation Warp Speed has developed it. And if you want to take it, here's what it is. The Biden administration, remember, we were told by Joe Biden, we're losing patience. They wanted to force it on everyone. Why? Because you had a government contract between the federal government and the pharmaceutical companies. They were going to make money on this. And they used the power of government to tell you had to take it.
Let it sink in. Government did it on purpose.
As much as we look at the Tuskegee experiments and we say that would never happen.
Yes, it would.
It did.
Yes, it would.
It did. In fact, you probably lost people in your life. Like I think about some of the people that I've lost over the last several years where it was to very aggressive forms of cancer. And you just, and these are people that were not even in their 40s in some cases. There's some of this where you go, wow, you beat cancer 6 years ago, and this thing came raging back in this way that was completely unexpected. And you would never expect, their doctors are like, I don't know how this happened this way. Well, I got a decent idea why.
I told you a really sad story about a friend this morning.
Yeah.
That I just found out succumbed to cancer, breast cancer. She had it and overcame it, and things were going well. That was this morning that I found out about that person, and then the cancer came raging back. And
it makes you wonder.
And
you start to ask questions, and you should. It's your own health. You get one of these.
That's right. You don't get one go around. And this woman was as sweet a woman as she could possibly be, was a record label executive in Nashville. And now she's gone. It's the saddest story ever, and it makes you wonder. You don't know her, so probably doesn't have that same effect. Well, what if I bring...
You should be asking questions about a lot of these cases, because if the oncologists are screaming about it right now...
It came back stronger.
Yeah.
Came back stronger. Why? That one probably doesn't resonate with you as much as it does me. But what if I bring up the name Hank Aaron?
Somebody else just checked out the way you checked out.
The incredible task Donald Trump has.
You better call Dallas later.
I'm going to.
Or text.
Kristen Gates, too.
Yeah.
Sarah Rose.
You're going to reach out to all of them.
Country ladies.
All the country ladies.
That's right. The incredible task Donald Trump has to actually make America great again. Next on Extra 1063. Tug and Los until 10.
Time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 1063.
I don't imagine a lot of people who will hear this commentary are really familiar with what's going on in Great Britain right now, or England, or the United Kingdom, or whatever you want to call it. We really should be paying more attention. Talk to somebody who has recently made a visit to London. Maybe for the first time. They will tell you that they were absolutely shocked at how many women are walking around in those hijabs or whatever they call them. They look like black garbage bags. Maybe they would be surprised to find out that the number one name for newborn baby males in London is Muhammad. And maybe if they look close enough, they will see that free speech is really seriously under attack in Great Britain. In fact, there is no free speech. Here's a story that came by yesterday. A toddler, maybe 3 or 4 years old, has been kicked out of his school in London for, now listen, for being transphobic. There's that phobia word again, a word that means an irrational fear of something. So we have a 4-year-old getting kicked out of school because he has an irrational fear of transgenders. I dug a little deeper, tried to figure out just what this kid said. The closest I can get is that he made a remark that some transgender girl in his school looked like a boy. This whole transgenderism thing is nothing less than mass hysteria. The real word is gender dysphoria. It is a mental illness, but it seems to have become a refuge for otherwise boring and uninteresting people looking for a way to be noticed. How long before that bleeds into this country? Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
Emergencies strike at any time without warning. When they do, food disappears fast. That's why prepared Americans trust My Patriot Supply, the leader in long-term emergency food storage, to protect their families. For a limited time, order their best-selling 4-week emergency food supply and get 4 free 72-hour food kits. That's 12 extra days of food at no extra cost. That's nearly 2 weeks of extra food, free, to keep your family secure. Plus, free shipping. Order by 3 p.m. for same-day shipping. All kits deliver 2,000 calories per day of easy-to-prepare meals with a shelf life up to 25 years. These kits that have been rated 4.8 out of 5 stars by tens of thousands of folks like you. When the next crisis hits, you'll be ready. Stock up now at MyPatriotSupply.com before this deal disappears. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com for your 4-week emergency food supply and 4 free extra food kits. MyPatriotSupply.com.
You need a pre-owned car or truck, but you don't need the headache of searching for one. Spending hours calling dealerships, then spending half the day filling out paperwork.
Come on.
You need the Honest Car Guy.
Hey, this is Tom from the Honest Car Guy. We help you buy your next pre-owned car or truck honestly. We guarantee each vehicle we sell will come with a copy of the bill of sale, showing what we paid for it. You pay what we pay, plus a disclosed fee. Guaranteed.
Get an Honest Car Buy from the Honest Car Guy. Call 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME-1, or visit honestcarguy.com.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 9 a.m. hour is presented by Southern Exteriors. Quality and precision you can rely on.
They're still working out who to charge and how much. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. In the hours before what President Trump calls Liberation Day tomorrow.
In a sense, it's a rebirth of a country because how we could have afforded to do what we did, we help everybody and they don't help us.
He's going to impose reciprocal tariffs on more imports on countries that charge for American exports.
There are still some key details that we don't know, including how many countries will be affected, what type of tariffs will be imposed. Will it be a universal tariff or individual tariff rates for each country? The president is also betting tariffs will eventually pay off for the American worker because they say companies will be incentivized to build their products in the U.S.
That's Fox's Madeline Rivera. But on Wall Street, stock futures are falling again before April's trading after a big March sell-off on worry about tariffs leading to inflation. The Nasdaq went down 8%.
They don't want to see.
Now, when it comes to the Senate, Democrats continue their resistance. Last night and all this morning, Cory Booker, a Democrat, on the floor talking, railing against the Trump agenda.
I ask everybody to understand this is not a normal moment in America. This is a crossroads moment in America.
As the cutbacks continue, laugh notices going out today to the first of 10,000 federal workers that will be let go of the Department of Health and Human Services. Voters go to the polls in 2 states and 2 vacant House seats up for grabs in Florida. Democrats trying trying to flip both to shrink the Republican House majority, but both districts have been GOP strongholds. In Wisconsin, a state Supreme Court seat's on the ballot. Susan Crawford trying to win it to keep the court liberal-leaning.
They don't want to see some outsiders, some billionaire come in and try to buy a seat on the Wisconsin Supreme Court, which is, what Elon Musk is trying to do.
The conservative Brad Schimmel, who's hoping to win and shift the court balance to the right, tells Fox.
This is gross. They're just doing all this to try to distract from what's happening on their side. They are now the party of the big money elite.
About $100 million spent by both sides in the race. America's listening to Fox News.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
You may have seen the Bortz billboard all across town. Let everyone know Bortz is back and his new home is Extra 106.3.
If my wife were on social media, I'd be trying to pull pranks on her because it's April Fool's Day. I had read that somebody took their wife's Facebook page and updated the birthday to April Fool's Day. And then all of a sudden, because it pops up, and then you just get these thousands.
Wise.
All your friends are saying, happy birthday. And I'm sure if you open that up, you're like, well, today's not my birthday. What's going on?
Why is this happening to me?
It takes a minute for you to realize what has happened, that somebody's pranked you.
We had Marty in Atlanta who calls in frequently. He called in earlier and said he took Los's advice and asked his wife for a divorce. She said the papers are in the drawer.
Good Lord. See, that's why you don't want to do that, Los. That's the ultimate backfire there.
Well, is it?
I guess it depends on the situation.
Right. Like in mine, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but Marty, how do you feel, Marty? Did it work out for you? We need to get Marty to call back maybe later.
One of these days. So I did it, and it was a huge backfire.
Yeah,
well, she might have had it coming.
Yeah, right. It was probably beyond repair at that point. If it happened that quickly on April Fool's Day, it was teetering to begin with.
Yes, here. Oh, April Fools?
They're in the drawer. I've been waiting on you to get home.
Oh, man.
What a disaster that would be. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, April Fools, it can be fun. It can be annoying. Depends on what end of it, But if you get angered by April Fool's Day, I don't understand that. You know what I mean? Because there's people that get frustrated. They're like, oh, I hate April Fool's Day. I hate jokes and I hate all that. Quit being grumpy. Quit being a Democrat. Quit. Enjoy life. Smile once in a while. It's okay.
They're just like pranks.
Yeah, it's fun. It's funny. I'm not saying you have to do it every April. I'm not saying it have to be elaborate. But if you can get somebody and pull one off, it's funny and everybody gets a good laugh. And that's what we need, more of that. The Democrat Party needs a whole lot of that.
I never, when I say never, it's like once every 3 years, post something to Facebook. Facebook is where I just check in to be like, who's got a birthday, who got married, who's got a kid.
That's all it's there.
Well, I had an anniversary. It was a birthday to a friend of mine who since passed away, and he was the greatest prankster of all time. The most amazing dude, where he wasn't the book smart guy, but think about it on your feet, come up with something, he could do it amazingly quick. So I'll just tell you. So we're playing basketball. We're 15, 16 years old. We'd always go over to our friend Dan's house, and we needed one extra player. And so Greg decided, well, let's call our friend Vince. He's a pretty talented guard. He plays on the high school teams and stuff. Let's call him. We'll get him on over here. And calls Vince's house. His mom answers, and suddenly his brain just clicked into prank mode. And he goes, hey, this is Dave. I'm the manager over at Kroger. Now keep in mind, Vince and Greg had been fired from Kroger.
Uh-oh.
He says, I need Vince back here. It's we're just overwhelmed, and we're going to pay him double. We're going to pay him double his hourly rate. She's like, you got it. He's in the shower right now. I'll send him right on over. Well, then hangs up the phone. Greg then calls Kroger, asks to speak to the manager, Dave. Says, hey, this is Vince. I'm coming over there. I'm going to work circles around y'all, and y'all are going to pay me double. You're going to pay me double, damn it. I'm going to be up there in a few minutes. And they're telling him on the phone, you can't come over here. You know, you're not allowed on site. You know, this is what happened. We got in the cars, and we drove up to Kroger, and we saw Vince get out of his car and walk up, and the manager with security standing out front telling him he couldn't come in. And they're both yelling about, you said you were going to come in here and pay me double. You said you were going to do this. And they're just yelling at each other. And that is one of the single greatest pranks I've ever seen in my entire life. Fantastic. It was incredible. And that dude came up with now that wasn't April Fool's, but like I will acknowledge Greg Southwell, the prankster of all pranksters, like the greatest. He is the GOAT of pranksters I've ever known.
Yeah, that's great.
It was amazing. We were dying we were in the back of the parking lot rolling over laughing as Vince is like, but you told me to come back here. You said you were going to pay me double. And the manager with armed security, like, you can't come in here.
You must go.
You got to go.
The confusion. So when he figured it out, or when y'all...
Oh, he was so mad.
I bet he was.
He didn't want to play basketball with us.
He was ready to kill.
We went back over to Dan's house to go shoot some more hoops, and we're like, man, that was really funny. That was really genius. I really wish we could have finished it off with April Fool's, but if you're going to prank level today... shoot for Southwell level prank.
Yes,
that's the goal. The prank level has to be there.
It does. I mean, I was just talking about, changing the sound of the alarm on your significant other's phone,
Which not calling your friend's manager and then calling his mom.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Unbelievable. That's next level.
I was in brilliance. He did it in the kitchen of the house, and I'm just standing there going, oh, my God, like, this is happening. And
He's really doing it.
And as soon as he hung up, to think that he was like, now I'm going to call Kroger. I was like, oh, God.
This is elaborate.
It was pretty good.
You've thought about this.
I did it on the fly. I was like, that's pretty genius. And that was his coworker buddy. He's the one who did it to him. They're friends.
Not any longer.
Oh, my God. It was so wonderful.
That is so good.
April Fools. That's so much fun.
If you got great pranks that you've been able to pull off,
feel free to share them.
Please, in the 9 o'clock hour specifically. We get a little crazy at the 9. 404-741-1230. I want it to be doubled over laughing.
I told you the Bo Bice one. Like, that was one of the stronger ones.
Yeah, I told you about Heidi Newfield from Trick Pony that we pranked into we set her up with a fake caller. We did a big contest saying we're giving away a Toyota. Then the contest gets going, and we tell the staged winner that it is a toy Yoda, like for Star Wars, and he loses his mind and starts blaming her, and she's like, I have no idea. They just asked me to be a part. And then we finally told her April Fool's. It was genius. And the record label was so pissed.
Oh, imagine.
So furious. She's never coming on your show again.
It's like
that kind of thing.
That was the one time. I mean, we pranked.
It was worth it.
Our friend Chuck Oliver, Chuck and Chernoff show, Afternoon Drive on our sister station. We told the audience that we had a fake Bo Bice calling in, because we knew the audience would then start telling Chuck. They would start sending him emails and stuff like that. Turns out we actually had the real Bo Bice who was calling in. And this was just like a year after, like, American Idol. And, he's a local guy. He's a really good dude. And so he comes on, and Chuck won't take part in the conversation.
Because he thinks it's a fake.
And all he's doing is, like, just trying to mock him. Of like you can't get me. You're, I know this is not the real Bo Bice. And Bo Bice is basically having to explain to him on the air, no, I am the real Bo Bice.
And then
and now the fight is starting between the two of, like, is it really Bo Bice?
And Chuck finally realizes,
broke down and realized and was like, oh. Then that's when he knew, like, he'd been pranked, but in a fun way.
Yeah, that's the greatest. It doesn't have to be as damaging as the Kroger story.
No.
Where there's armed security guards in the front waiting on the man coming in to think he's going to work.
He thought he was going to be paid double.
Certainly. God, dude, so good. Yeah, so if you got those, 404-741-1230. Part of healing, part of making America great again is the ability to laugh. And that's what we've gained back. If nothing else, Donald Trump has given me that, and that's my favorite thing to do in the world. But it's not just that needs to be done. There's so much that needs to be done to restore America for 40 years of leftist nonsense, tentacles of heavy-handed, authoritarian style I don't know, ways of thinking. And Victor David Hansen, he knows also, Los, that Trump's got a big task ahead of him. Has he got a good start? Yes, but this is just the very, very tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, the Fox News contributor, he's just a
smart guy.
Really intelligent dude. He just sees...
Daily Signal, is that where he usually is? Yeah.
He sees politics from a 30,000-foot view, but then he's able to get down into it and explain, all right, here's what needs to happen. And he had a really good column where he talked about the ways that Donald Trump needs to thread a needle, and that he's trying to work on with these tariffs, with the tax policy, with his plans to basically bring back American industry, get manufacturing going again like it was from 2016 to 2019, avoid those silly pandemics, and to basically build an economy that he had previously already had started and was already roaring. And he talked about the challenges of that, because what's going on in the world is always going to make it more difficult. And this is how he wrote about it. I thought this was really bright. He talked about Donald Trump, quote, "Can he achieve enough massive cuts to the federal workforce and federal spending to realistically project a balanced budget in 2 to 3 years? Can he use tariffs to adjudicate rough trade parity without panicking Wall Street and reduce our huge trade deficit?" That's one of them. But how do you do it without having the stock market go crazy?
Because that's the indicator that most people see, and
it's not working. Look what's going on.
Exactly right. They take that to the bank immediately.
He says, while stimulating the economy through increased energy production, some tariff income, massive inflows of foreign capital and private sector jobs, deregulation, and tax cuts. In addition, can he end the war in Ukraine while denuclearizing Iran without blowing up the Middle East? The answers remain uncertain because no one has really attempted all these measures simultaneously. That's what we talk about, and he has it as flooding the zone. It's like, how many things are you going to work on at once, because they're all going to have to be in conjunction with one another. And so to pull this thing off would take the ultimate statesman.
Think about what he's doing with the Panama Canal.
Yes.
Greenland. Those things matter. There's a reason that he's attacking those. He knows that he's got to get those things done because they're in the benefit of the United States. They're in the benefit of the American people for national security. That's the thing. Like, it gets scoffed at. It gets made fun of on mainstream. Oh, he's going to annex Greenland. He's going to go down and take the canal by force. Dude, he's doing whatever it takes to make America great. I don't say that MAGA with any sort of regularity. This is not part of my vernacular. It's not what I talk about. But that's what he's trying to do. Like, he's genuinely trying to live up to that statement.
Well, this does not work at the university level. Doesn't work in the teacher's lounge.
Because that's all hypothetical hogwash nonsense.
What I'm pointing out is that when we say, as the United States of America, when we're strong and, hey, we need to secure this for our own personal interests, why Greenland? Well, because of the proliferation of weapons and what they're now capable of doing, you need, for security purposes, Greenland. So why not take it? Now, we're not talking about buying it. Now, I wouldn't mind if they bought it.
Sure,
but if they're able to line out a deal to where, okay, we now have another area, similar to what we get with Puerto Rico or what we get with a handful of places over in Southeast Asia. Yeah. We got a province. Here's where we have it's technically you're an American citizen, but obviously you don't have the same sort of voting rights and everything else in terms of sending senators over into D.C. But still, the idea that you're doing that and that you're just going to do it, the left, the teachers' lounge, the university group go like, you can't do that. That's just mean. We can be mean. That's fine. It's in our own interest.
In World War II, we were really mean.
Everything should be in our own best interest. If we're losing, and we talked about last hour, if we're losing the backup of Europe because Europe is going to full-on globalism and they're gone. I did enjoy that as I talked about how London and most notably the UK is being lost to the Muslim population. And what did we get from Talkmaster? He brought up the exact factor. These are not countries you can count on any longer. You have to count on yourself. That means getting yourself as strong as possible is in our own best interest and should be part of what we do going forward for the next 4 years.
And he talked about getting it done in 2 or 3 years, which I just don't know if that's doable. I hope it is. But the one silver lining, if you will, is that J.D. Vance, he can pick up the ball and run with it, and I think he can be successful like Trump is. And on top of that, it's not like Trump would not be a great advisor to a J.D. Vance if he were to be the next president and was continuing the strategy to do all these things.
If you want to make the left insane, like they're already teetering, there are people falling off the cliff. Your Aunt Peg is completely off the reservation.
Absolutely insane, and I love her, and she's a sweet lady.
But what you need to do, Swem.
Yes.
Sweetest woman ever made. So Aunt Peg, Swem, if you want to make Aunt Peg crazy, just tell her what our plans are. Say, Aunt Peg, you got him for about another 3 years and 9 months. It's like, and then after that, we're making him Speaker of the House.
Dude. That would be...
Because that's a vote.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to.
You don't have to be a member of Congress to be the Speaker of the House.
Could you imagine how crazy they would go?
Dude, it would be...
And by the way, that
glorious.
Makes you third in line
for the presidency.
So after we're done, Aunt Peg, we're making Donald Trump the Speaker of the House.
And also,
now I know that's a downgrade. You never do it, but if you just want to draw them off sides,
and age would probably limit. I got to tell you, I don't think he would hesitate if he were in shape to do it. And he's going to be older man. I don't think he could physically do it from an age standpoint. But if he weren't, let's erase age, and he was a younger man.
He'll be in his early 80s at that point.
He would absolutely be able to do it, and I think he would do it just because.
And then what you tell Aunt Peg, say, Aunt Peg, you need to get together with all your crazies, like organize all the crazies you can. And
all 6 of you.
And you can then assassinate the president and take out the vice president.
And then you get him back. What do you think?
Which he wasn't elected. But he gets to assume the term for another 4 years.
Dude.
If you just want to make him crazy.
That's just, give him the hypothetical.
Or, you know what? I reject the violent part. How about we do this? J.D. Vance and whoever's the vice president say, we both retire.
Yeah. I resign the oath of office.
We resign the oath of office.
And we're handing this thing off.
Joe did it.
Yeah, no kidding. He certainly did. God, dude, they would. You think they're screaming and setting things on fire now? Dude, they would set the Empire State Building on fire. They would set the White House on fire. They would burn the entire country down peacefully.
I love if Caroline Leavitt would just go to the podium and say, Donald Trump does not intend to run for a third term. But we're going to make him Speaker of the House.
What do you think?
What do y'all think about that?
Can you imagine the buzz around the scrum there at the White House, the media pool at the White House? Did you just say? From the leftist media outlets. I mean, I think some of the podcasters would catch on to what was happening, and knowing that they're just trying to get under their skin,
just to make them a little crazy.
It'd be so much fun.
That's why I love the way they answer those questions.
Me too, and that's why he still talks about third terms, because he knows it keeps him off guard and keeps him off sides, as Los would say. When we come back, the brilliant tweak to the mass deportation plans that Donald Trump has done. It's genius, and you'll see the genius next on Extra 106.3, 9 o'clock hours, brought to you by Southern Exteriors, your home exterior solution since 1999. Over 200,000 jobs that they've done. Windows, doors, siding, roof, gutter, millwork, they do it all. 877-9-SOUTHERN, southernexteriors.co.
Hey, it's Flounder, and the Kimmer Show is live every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m.
All Donald Trump is doing for the new tariff plan is to make it reciprocal. If a company charges a 10% tariff on our stuff, we charge a 10% tariff on theirs.
Canada charges a 200% tariff on our dairy products.
Yeah.
But when we do it, we're the bad guy.
Yeah, right.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Good morning, Atlanta. It's Front Office Los. Let's talk about True Prep. Now, let's face it. There was times where the media tried to tell you, well, you're a prepper. They tried to make you out to be some sort of wingnut, some sort of weird person. Well, when something crazy happens and you're the one who's ready to go, guess who's crazy then? Yeah, that is why I do the work that I do in order to keep my family safe. True Prep is over on Cobb Parkway. It's your one-stop shop for emergency preparedness supplies, including freeze-dried food, that's one of my favorites, water filtration, first aid, and more. And let's talk about personal security when it comes to True Prep. They have a large selection of firearms, including the expertise to work with you. What are you looking to do? What are you looking to prepare yourself for? Are you going, let's just say you live out in the wilderness. You got to deal with some of that stuff. That is one of the things they're able to help you out with. A large selection of AR-15s, firearm accessories, and ammo at the lowest prices around. And trust me, that's going to help you out when you start seeing the cost of ammo. Here's what you do. By the way, they're locally owned and operated. You're able to ask questions. And also, they have seminars on a regular basis where you can learn a little something. Maybe it might be on preparedness. Maybe it might be in one case over the past weekend. They had a beekeeper, a master beekeeper that showed you how to keep bees if you want to do that as well. You can visit their store at Marietta on Cobb Parkway or online at trueprep.com. That's TRUprep.com. Prepare today for a worry-free tomorrow at True Prep.
If you're the decision maker at your company, we have great news for you, for your HR department, and for your employees. A new and future-forward way to do health benefits is here from Thatch. Not only do your employees get better health benefits with Thatch, but you save an average of $1,620 per employee per year. That's right. You can save over $1,600 per employee per year. Plus, Thatch reduces the time your HR department spends administering benefits. Businesses all over the country love Thatch's breakthrough approach. Rather than a wasteful one-size-fits-all plan, Thatch empowers your employees by letting them customize their own benefits plans. And you save money and time while providing your employees with better health benefits, which works better for everyone. Book a demo with Thatch and we'll send you a $100 gift card. Visit thatch.ai/radio to book a demo for your gift card. That's THATCH.ai/radio. Thatch.ai/radio.
Hey, it's Mike with Atlanta Painting Company. Spring is sprung, so let's get your home looking fresh. Right now, save 10% on any paint job Atlanta Painting Company does for you this spring. Atlanta Painting Company is still Atlanta's biggest family-owned and run painting company, and we are passionate about making your family's home look great. So get in touch. Head to AtlantaPaintingCompany.com to save 10% on any paint job this spring. Atlanta Painting Company, the painters you can trust.
Convenience is defined as the state of being able to proceed with something with little effort or difficulty. Well, at RBM of Atlanta, we embody this philosophy. Meet our Mercedes-Benz pickup and delivery service. It gives you back time and money. Does your Mercedes-Benz need service? If so, we'll pick up your vehicle that's requiring service from your home or office and bring it back to our dealership for the required service. With over 100 appointments available every weekday, over 50 appointments on Saturdays, and more than 200 courtesy vehicles in our fleet, we're here to serve. We'll work around your schedule. We're here to save you time, energy, and money. RBM of Atlanta is a J.D. Power 2023 Diamond Dealer of Excellence for the customer sales experience and Georgia's only 9-time Mercedes-Benz Best of the Best winner. We're proud to be Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964. Pickup and delivery service restrictions do apply. Ask your service coordinator or service advisor for details.
My name is Patrick, and I'm the Military Outreach Manager at the Warrior Alliance. I served in the U.S. Army as an airborne ranger and deployed to several combat zones in support of the global war on terror. Veterans bring excellence through our work ethic, skills, and civic duty. However, transitioning to civilian life can be difficult, as we all share a loss of purpose when leaving the military. Returning veterans have earned and deserve our support so they can thrive on their journey home. The Warrior Alliance understands the challenge and is helping warriors navigate to success after service. Join us in changing thousands of lives for the better. Donate today at thewarrioralliance.org.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your headlines for Tuesday, April 1st. Representative Nikema Williams resigned Monday as the chair of the Democratic Party in Georgia. This comes after pressure to step down from inside her own party, including Senator John Ossoff. Vice Chair Matthew Wilson takes over her role. Representative Lucy McBath has suspended her exploratory committee for a potential run for Georgia's governor to be with her husband as he was recently diagnosed with cancer. She has not ruled out a run entirely, but said she wants to focus on supporting her husband during his recovery. A 17-year-old was arrested Monday in Ackworth for making threats against North Cobb Christian School. Police say they received a Snapchat photo with a school shooting threat. The student has been charged with terrorist threats and is being held without bond. And registration opens today for the Peachtree Road Race. The July 4th event is expected to draw 60,000 runners and walkers. Today's weather, starting in the low 50s and rising to the mid-70s this afternoon with mostly clear skies. Tomorrow looks cloudy with highs potentially reaching the low 80s. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne.
Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Xtra.
They're finally going to fix Bella's teeth.
Are they? Well, what's been the matter with them?
I knew that was going to get her.
I know.
She came in here. We were planning on her schedule for the show she's going to do, and she's like, I need to go to the dentist 10:30 on Wednesday, and that naturally then turned into teeth jokes.
That's right.
That's why she's so mad at me.
You do have very
nice teeth, Bella.
Of course you do.
Thank you.
You're very
They're
nice
an
smile.
investment.
Oh, so you've already been through the dentist process?
Yes, I have an Invisalign in for 10 months.
Oh, okay.
I see. I didn't know that.
Didn't know that.
Well,
could never tell.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of Invisalign.
Well, but see, I read yesterday that Invisalign is out with the new generation, with the youngest of folks, I guess your generation, but maybe just a tick younger, like the high school age. They love the old school braces. They want the metal braces back.
I am not wearing braces as a 24-year-old adult. I won't do it. I'm sorry.
Well, right, but which I understand, and it seems super painful, but they're hip again. People love them.
Yeah, I feel like when I was younger, I wanted braces because all my friends were getting braces and they were changing the colors.
Yeah, the rubber bands and things.
And going back on that time of my life, I wish I never did it.
Yeah. So you had the metal braces?
I had the metal braces for a little bit. But
why do you need a Invisalign now? I thought the braces...
Because I was a brat, and I told my mom I'm not going to braces in high school, so they took them off a little too early.
And so then you had to deal with the change.
Then, before I moved to Atlanta, I actually visited, got my car broken into, and they stole my retainer, and then I was at college, and I could never get an appointment when I came back home to New Jersey, so my teeth, shifted.
So you just slept in your headgear, huh?
No headgear.
You could eat corn through a fence.
Yeah, I'm suffering with the consequences right now.
Well, Bella, your smile looks very nice.
Yes, it does. It's wonderful. And we love having Bella on because she talks about Gen Z stuff.
And her teeth.
And her teeth. And her vaping.
That's
she
right.
does
Her
it all.
vaping and her teeth.
She's a busy woman. And,
if she took her shoes off, she might have hobbit's foot.
Oh, that's gross.
It looks like she could catch food out of lakes.
That's so nasty and gross. Good Lord. 9 o'clock hour is brought to you on April Fool's Day. It's brought to you by Southern Exteriors, 100,000, 200,000 jobs under the belt. Anything to do with the outside of your house, windows, doors, gutters, siding, roofing, especially when you have those rain days, you got the leak in the roof. Get that fixed right away, 877-9 southernexteriors.co. You see, the Boasberg guy, he put a wrinkle in some of the deportation plans. And he said, you can't deport these people under the Alien Enemy Act. Going to put a stop to it. So Donald Trump, being the smart guy that he is and surrounding himself with other smart people, said, okay.
Let's make it a tweak.
Yeah.
Let's talk with the president of El Salvador, and let's consider this a joint counterterrorism operation. Okay, so here's
and it is. I mean, it really is.
Last night, in a successful counterterrorism operation with our allies in El Salvador, the United States military transferred a group of 17 violent criminals from the Tren de Aragua MS-13 organization, including murderers and rapists. And that was pointed out by Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State. Now that you want to call it a terrorism act, that this is what we're doing, suddenly the purview of any of these low-end judges is out the door.
You got no authority.
So I would say let's just keep this as the guise for most everything when it comes to this stuff.
Because it works.
Because if you're saying this is in the interest of trying to stop terroristic acts, which is really like a broad brush sort of stuff. I mean, you can say, hey, they're selling drugs in the community. They're taking over apartment complexes. Well, terrorism. All right, these are foreign entities that have invaded into your country, and this is what they're doing.
And they're breaking the law.
This makes it very hard for Boasberg and the like to do anything. Oh, by the way, he is the guy who gave Ray Epps the slap on the wrist.
Oh, yeah. And
there's a few that got around pretty quick.
There's a few instances of things that he's done just like that. He's very, very political. There's no doubt.
He is a friend to the communists.
He takes the blindfold off. Justice is supposed to be blind. That's the whole reason the statue has a blindfold on, so it's fair for everyone. And he takes it off. He makes it clear. And he doesn't try to hide it.
And by the way, it is awesome that this administration is going, well, why don't you take that gavel and stick it somewhere where the sun doesn't shine? Because we're not stopping.
You know what? The Biden administration went around every ruling. They figured out a way. And in the case of the Supreme Court, they said, doesn't matter what the Supreme Court says, we're going to relieve student debt.
They just kept altering what their operation was and saying, by the time that the Supreme Court makes a ruling on this version, we'll go on to the next version.
That's exactly right. Now, Donald Trump is using that tactic a little bit, but using one that is actually a legal way of handling it, but he's able to navigate it. And he's set the Biden administration set the example. This is how you get around some of this stuff.
Well, if we consider it terrorism, if we consider that what these people are doing in this country, again, invaders from somewhere else that are committing crimes, you can consider this terrorism.
I do. Taking over an apartment complex is terrorism.
Then you are not going to be able to have a low-level judge end up trying to take the power away from the commander-in-chief, who actually is tasked with being able to handle these sorts of instances with foreigners who are looking to do damage to this country.
Boasberg is on the wrong side of history, and history will show that. Just like Biden was on the wrong side of history, and the entire administration was on the wrong side of history. They were not doing things to benefit the American people or the country as a whole. They knew what they were doing, and they wanted it to benefit them politically. Now we have a president that does do things on the behalf of the American people, that does things on behalf of the country, and finds ways that are legal, completely legal, using strategies legally to better the country. He will be lauded one day as a hero. He will be.
And this is an issue where we're still talking about 80-20s. What Boasberg did, by the time it filtered through the news media and it turned into, well, Trump's administration is doing illegal acts by getting rid of criminals. By the time that there was an explanation on both sides, the American people were with Donald Trump and the administration. Like, get rid of them. I mean, I don't care how much you are into your bleeding heart issues. A majority of Americans are saying, get rid of them. If you're criminals, get rid of them.
Newt talked about it. We didn't play it earlier, and we don't have to play it now, but Newt Gingrich.
No, let's warm it up. You want to bring that Newt Gingrich audio here? That's perfect.
It's a great piece because he's saying why everything is so popular. Everything is going Donald Trump's way as far as the American people and trust in him.
We just did a poll last week. 81% of the American people believe the federal government's corrupt. 81%. This is an enormous danger to the survival of freedom when you have 8 out of every 10 Americans believing that the core system is corrupt. The House and the Senate have an obligation to bring these judges in, to interrogate them, to understand the normal constitutional boundaries, to look at the historic precedent, and then, if necessary, just abolish their courts and cut them out of the game, or cease paying for them, so that they just sit there and they can't do anything. The current situation is intolerable, and it is a direct threat to the system of self-government that is at the core of the American model.
Newt Gingrich is a guy that understands. Like, this is a man that I trust and believe in. And when he says, this is what we need to do to clean up the court systems, that's the route I want Donald Trump to follow. And I'm sure that there's been discussion. It's not like Newt Gingrich is going to be left out. He's a guy that revolutionized the Republican Party and put them in the position to win that we're in today. So I love the fact that Newt was talking about that. And then on Fox News, they had a poll, 81% of people support Donald Trump. Mainly, his numbers continue to rise because of what he's done at the border, because of him taking people out of this country that don't belong here, that are breaking laws and committing crimes. People have questions or at least concerns about the economy, yes, but his numbers skyrocket still on all sides of the political aisle because of what he's done at the border and taking people out of here, mass deportation.
He told you, he spent the entire campaign telling you what he was going to do. The fact that you're getting it now is why it's no surprise. In fact, it's very refreshing to have a person tell you, this is what I intend to do, this is my priority, and he gets after it on day one. Like, this is the reason why. Now, it's going to take something crazy and monumental, and the left is hoping for it every single day. What is going to be the way that we can separate Trump from his voters? The problem
Signalgate was what they thought that was it.
They really thought that an app, an app message was going to be it. No. They do not understand the relationship between the American voter and Donald Trump. They don't get it. They don't have it within their own party. Probably haven't had anything like it since Barack Obama, but even Barack Obama, when we got around to 2010, got just murdered his entire group in that off-year election. I mean, that was monumental what happened to the Democrats during that time period. This doesn't shape up the same way, where it's Donald Trump and those that support Donald Trump seem to be getting love from everybody around the country.
And for Newt to say 81% of the country believes the federal government is corrupt, that's unbelievable. That many people do not trust the federal government. And I fall into that category. Los does. We all do. But for that many, like, it's not just Republicans. It's not just conservatives. 81% of the people that live in America believe the federal government is corrupt. How long have we been saying this? Finally, you feel vindicated a little bit because you've known it. And now it's been confirmed. I think that's the most positive news that we can get, that people don't look at the mainstream media and trust what they're saying anymore, especially when it comes to the federal government, because they know they're corrupt.
As I've pointed out before, we'll deal with bad government, we'll deal with dumb government. Corrupt government is where everyone draws the line.
81%, Los.
And this is that line that everyone does not have a problem with any of the repercussions from it. So, for instance, if you say, hey, we're getting rid of 20,000 federal workers, it's very easy for people to say, well, it's part of a corrupt system, so that's fine. In the same way, in the exact same way, that federal worker looked at you and said, oh, you're losing your job because you won't take an experimental government vaccine? Well, again, fine. Too bad.
They were just fine with it. And the American people saw that too. I saw it. You saw it. We all saw it.
I'm on the opposite end of it going, well, hope you can code.
Yeah.
Why don't you come take my job?
What about a green job? I'm sure those are plenty of those out there.
There's going to be plenty of green jobs. Just sign up for a green job. It'll be great.
Just like they told those people working on the pipeline.
No. Join the military.
Yes, that's right.
Just join the military. You're in great shape. You're ready to go. You know how to take orders. In the government.
You do everything to a T.
That's right. You're outstanding. I mean, nobody in the private sector can even compete with you. You're a monster of capitalism.
Boy,
you're an amazing person.
And you've been showing up to work all the time. You're never late.
It's great. Go for it.
Just like the military.
Exactly.
I mean, look, they're so parallel.
Yes.
You belong together.
Again.
Corrupt government, nobody wants.
8 out of 10 issue.
That's exactly right. And they continue to take the wrong side of it every time. And good. I'm glad. Because that is going to give us an opportunity to actually, because going back to the conversation that we had about Victor David Hansen, just the challenge that Trump has and the time that he has to get it done to fix America. This, as long as they keep taking the wrong side of the issue, it's going to give him more time.
Buys more time and more clout.
That's exactly right.
Yep.
And
I'm right there with you.
If he can't get it done, which I pray that he can, he hands it off to J.D. Vance, and I feel that we're in good hands because they're going to continue to take the wrong side of every issue.
I don't believe they can stay on the wrong side of every issue for 4 years, but they're trying.
Dude,
they're really trying.
What makes you think they won't? Like, give me one reason.
Where's the rebound?
Yeah.
Like, what's the one we're all going to go, ooh, they
finally got that one right.
That one right.
They're not even close to one. I mean, they're not even close to an issue right now. I mean, I know it's early. We're 6 weeks into the presidency, or 8 weeks maybe, whatever it is, and they've not even sniffed at a pitch yet. I mean, they're swinging and missing on everything. They look like the Braves right now, not being able to hit the ball at all.
We can't score.
We can't score. We can't win. Morning Extra at Extra 106.3. When we come back, you better vote like civilization depends on it, because it does. Next on Extra.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to Extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Here are your sports headlines for Tuesday, April 1st. Atlanta Braves outfielder Jurickson Profar has been suspended by Major League Baseball for 80 games for a violation of the league's substance abuse policy, the performance enhancement drug policy to be exact. Profar will also be ineligible for postseason play when he returns later this season. On the field, the Braves are now 0-5 after a 6-1 loss to the Dodgers last night. Chris Sale is on the mound for the Braves tonight. He'll be opposed by Dustin May. First pitch is set for 10:10. You can hear that game on our sister station's brand new app, 680 The Fan. And the Hawks are back at State Farm Arena tonight as they host the Portland Trailblazers. That tip-off is set for 7:30. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
Join the Braves for an extra special Kids Club Day on April 6th during opening weekend at Truist Park. Fans can celebrate the grand opening of the new Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Park, which offers more than 30,000 square feet of space dedicated to creating a fun experience for kids of all ages. Kids Club members can also look forward to a player Q&A, the Chris Sale Triple Crown Gate giveaway, and more. Visit Braves.com/Kids Club to see all of the fun and get your tickets to the first Kids Club Day of the season.
Shooting drills. A coach who knows the game can teach their team how to improve. But one who genuinely cares about each player,
You have what it takes. We got this.
can inspire them to win. At Truist, we believe the same is true for banking. Because when you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more, you're unstoppable. Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Start feeling unstoppable. Visit Truist.com/care. Truist Bank, member FDIC, leading based on top 10 U.S. commercial bank.
Attention Warriors, are you a veteran ready to navigate to success after service? Tune in to the Warrior Alliance Network. Join us as we spotlight inspiring stories, provide essential resources, and connect you with a community dedicated to empowering veterans. From career advice to health and wellness tips, the Warrior Alliance Network is your go-to hub for post-service success. Tune in Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. on Extra 106.3. Join us on the mission, the Warrior Alliance Network, where warriors thrive together. Visit us at thewarrioralliance.org for more information.
There are crazies on the road. Who knows where they're all going, but if one of them hits you, don't take care of it on your own. Call my friend David Van Sant. He is the lawyer that used to work for the insurance company. The team at Van Sant Law knows who to call, what to say, and will make sure you get what you deserve and what the insurance company doesn't want to pay for. They have your best interest at heart and will take care of everything. If you don't get paid, they don't get paid. My advice, save Van Sant Law in your phone. Today, 855-GA-INJURY, vansantlaw.com.
Hi, I'm Chris Lalamia, owner of the Trusted Toolbox. Are home repairs piling up? Are you feeling overwhelmed? Relax. We've got you covered. From drywall dings and leaky faucets to deck repairs and trim replacement, we're your one-stop shop for everything for your home needs. No more juggling multiple contractors. Just call us at the Trusted Toolbox and we'll handle it. Your home deserves the best, and we don't want you breaking your back trying. Call the Trusted Toolbox today at 770-623-3097 or visit us at thetrustedtoolbox.com. The Trusted Toolbox, your one-stop shop for home repairs and more.
Fox on Tech.
New AI-driven software technology exists that could help U.S. Border Patrol agents and the Department of Homeland Security find fentanyl traffickers coming across the southern border. But Fox News has learned these advanced AI solutions remain underutilized or not used at all due to what the company's founder says is a bureaucratic holdup at DHS that began under the Biden administration and continues today. Sultan Megji, the CEO of Frontier Foundry, explains how his company's software can pick out which truck in line at the border is likely carrying fentanyl.
Something that we noticed is how gas is paid for in the trucks and the payments. We noticed patterns of behavior of the trucks themselves, the trailers themselves, where they ended up.
Most fentanyl enters the U.S. through legal border crossings via semi-trucks driven by American citizens. With Fox on Tech, Jennifer Griffin, Fox News.
The Extra 106.3 app is your live connection to the station, streaming free across Georgia. But it's also loaded with all our original shows and podcasts. Listen to exclusive shows from Janelle King, Ben Burnett, and so many more. Grab the Extra 106.3 app now and start streaming.
Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Extra. It's been an extraordinary morning, and we're glad that you were a part of it. And one more segment to go. But a funny day, man. Lots of laughs because of April Fools and the pranks that we've been able to pull off over the years. And if you've got any in this last little bit that we have on the air before the Glenn Beck program, Clay and Buck at noon, and then the Kimmer Show this afternoon with Pete and Flounder on Extra 106.3. Then 404-741-1230. I've got to announce senior night for girls lacrosse at Alpharetta High School tonight as they get ready to move on from high school into college. And it's funny, I'm going to do my best to do a great job, but they send me 8 pages to read about each kid. And you're like, dude, we got like 30 seconds to read some of this stuff. And there's like 9 pages about their favorite lacrosse coach when they were 4.
If you ever want to and this is just in practice,
yes,
because it's not like when you have a professional like Tug Cowart, that he's not the micro machines man.
Right.
If you just take your paper and you just start reading it and you just read it to yourself and you put it on a timer, once you hit like 2.5 minutes, it's when you're going to know that you're like 2 minutes and 15 seconds too long.
Yeah, that's it. And I even reached back out to him. I was like, hey, this is great. I can't wait to do it for y'all. It's going to be terrific. I was like, probably we'll cut this down to about 3 or 4 lines for each girl. That way, because you got 15 kids, whatever the number is. 10, maybe it's 10. Still. Like, you only have, and halftime's not that long. Logic. Let's use some logic here.
There's the term of levity and brevity.
Yes.
For a reason. A little less makes more.
Yes, it always is. Less is more.
How about more time for applause?
Yes, it's
and
great.
for them to stand and be honored.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll have to self-edit on the fly. Something tells me.
And her dog, when she was 6 years old,
Exactly.
came into our lives.
He ate up her lacrosse stick that time, and she was so upset. Now she's graduating and going on to play college. It's wonderful.
She switched from wood to graphite. Now she won't play with anything other than graphite.
That's right. All that's included. No, I'm not kidding. I showed, look at this, Dre. Look at this list for each player.
Golly.
And it's tiny.
It's too much.
Dude, I mean, that's like an hour of reading per player. It's unbelievable.
Nope, not going to happen.
Not at all. This is just not a chance. It's going to happen. Anyway, we got the important elections going on in Florida, important elections going on in Wisconsin. I want you to hear from Scott Jennings. He just signed a new deal with CNN. CNN's like, oh, my God, we're on to something. We have something that is worth listening to.
Bet you he got paid.
Yes, he did. And he wouldn't go into how much. I noticed that in an interview. He wouldn't say how much. And, I understand that. But I want you to hear from him because he is a smart guy and the only thing really there that is worth a darn at CNN. And him talking about your vote matters so much and Western civilization depends on it.
I think the Elon Musk point that you played earlier about the future of Western civilization, I actually think this is a key issue the Republicans ought to lean in on.
If a party controls the House, it to a significant degree controls the country, which then steers the course of Western civilization. So it's like, I feel like this is one of those things that may not seem that it's going to affect the entire destiny of humanity, but I think it will. Yeah.
Because it's not just a one-off election when you're voting in the Wisconsin Supreme Court race or some congressional special election in Florida. These things matter. There are ripple effects. A vote here causes major implications on policy down the line. So I think Elon is actually onto something with that messaging, and I hope Republicans, especially the new ones who aren't regular voters, take it to heart.
Dude, if you see what's happening in Europe, know that it could happen here.
You are voting for the civilization.
You are on the cusp of losing your country this most recent election back in November because we would have been just like Europe in that same spot because that's what they want to do. They want to do those same things here. They want to be Europe-like. They want to be globalists. You have to vote, and you can never let your guard down. And if you think I'm being dramatic about it, I'm not. Neither is Scott. Neither is Elon. Neither is Los or Dre. It is so important that you vote every time and you don't sit it out. Like, if it came down to 2 candidates that you're not crazy about, and you're like, I'm just going to sit it out, I can't vote for either one, you better go vote for the Republican because you know what the Democrat wants to do. And does that make me like every candidate that every candidate that the Republicans put up? No, absolutely not. There's plenty of them that have been so bad. But you better vote like your life depends on it because it does, and your children and grandchildren's future depends on it.
Trying to find this one meme that I saw. Oh, here it was. All right, so this got posted. It says, some people wouldn't know tyranny if it covered their faces, locked them in their homes, enacted the biggest wealth transfer in history, censored them, made them show papers, and force medicated them. That's where it was.
That's exactly
That's
right.
what you lived through.
That's right. And half the country voted for.
And I'm going to make sure that I never have to deal with that ever again.
Not going to put up with it.
Any of it.
You better not. You better not either. You can't.
But it does really speak to when anyone tells you that democracy is an illusion. We don't really have a democracy. All right, you've got a representative republic, just as you were told by Ben Franklin, if you can keep it. Okay, that's what you got. It is so easy to lose that we're seeing this happen in Europe.
And we were close.
It's already happening. Where what'll be the rise, as much as it's become their talking point. By the way, you notice how the whole oligarch tour has disappeared?
Gone.
Never was going to resonate.
Gone.
Oligarchs.
Most people don't know what it means to begin with.
Oligarchy. I'm like, that was stupid.
But it's fitting for that side. It's fitting for Bernie Sanders. It's fitting for AOC.
But that communism side, that globalist side wants to have kingmakers and queenmakers. Now, not in the royal sense, but they want okay, this person's in charge, and this is how it's going to be. And that's that authoritarianism that they're so desperate to enact. That is what you're fighting against. That's when you go pull that lever and you go make that vote, I'm just telling you, I'm not saying to always go with a Republican. Go with an outsider.
That's it. That's a better way.
Make it a point to keep these people that are outsiders. We have an entire group right now that are outsiders.
Because there's plenty of Republicans.
There's plenty of Republicans that'll play establishment games with you.
Low down that'll do the exact same thing. Get an outsider, get a disruptor.
I mean, right now, we are backing RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard. Okay, they've been not even Republicans in some cases, but they have been in the administration. And you're going, wow, these people are already disrupting the status quo. That's the goal.
That's exactly what you want.
That's how you avoid tyranny and authoritarianism.
And the only way to avoid it. So make sure you do that. You see Tiger Woods' tweet? I can't believe I'm saying this, but...
He got a girl.
Well, he does that, too. A former Donald Trump's former daughter-in-law, right? That who it is? Yeah.
It is. It's Donald Jr.'s ex-wife.
Ex-wife, yes. Is it Kai's mother?
That
I think
don't
it
know.
is. I think it is.
I don't know the royal family that well.
I don't know it great either, but I think that's right. But Tiger says, I can't believe I'm saying this, but a few weeks after rupturing my left Achilles, sleeping in a hyperbolic chamber, plus explosive lifts, my doctors and trainers have me ready to play the Masters next week. Can't wait to see y'all on the course.
That's a big benefit.
Look at the date. Look at the date.
That's what he's doing.
Yes, exactly.
That's what he's doing.
Yeah. P.S.
That's a bummer because when that does happen, your tickets go up by
oh my gosh,
twice to three times the amount. And again, Tiger's not Tiger anymore.
No, but it doesn't matter.
It's part of it.
It doesn't matter. It's like Ric Flair he still has a draw. The days of his wrestling and woo and what was he called himself Space Mountain. He still is a draw.
Space Mountain.
Yeah, he's
the
still
oldest ride with the longest line.
That's right, dude. He's still a draw. And those are two different careers altogether. Tiger, legendary. And Flair is too, but they just...
Wait, I've been told that he's the 16-time world champion, so...
Well, right. And he is.
He's earned every bit of it.
That's right. He's written it out. But Tiger is... I mean, he's like the Babe Ruth or the Ohtani now, but...
You just want to see him.
Yes.
Be like, okay, I saw Tiger.
I want to see him play one time.
I've never seen him play. I just want to be able to say I've seen... Now, I sat through a lot.
Twice.
Like several years ago when he won the Masters, that was a small miracle unto itself.
Of course it was.
Because everyone faltered around him, and he was the guy who just said, I know how to play this course. I'm just going to play my game. It wasn't like he was spectacular. Just everybody else fell apart, and he won.
Have to be.
Yeah, it was a small miracle to win it at that age and being what he'd been through.
Johns Creek Police Department on April Fool's Day. New speed cameras. Speed cameras now issue tickets based on style. Breaking news, our new AI-powered speed cameras don't just catch speeders, they now rate your driving style and issue tickets accordingly. Rolling stop, -5 points. Perfect parallel park, +10 points. Bonus, extra credit for driving with class. Hats and sunglasses, jazz music recommended. They got pictures of the speed cameras out there.
Aunt Peg has decided she's voting for Trump.
April Fools.
April Fools.
Not going to happen. Ever. Not ever going to see. Very sweet woman.
Swim.
Yes. Sweetest woman ever. What was it?
Made.
Ever made. That's right. Swim. Sweetest woman ever made.
And then you can say what you want
and
to.
And then yes, that's right. Because it's almost like a little bit of a bless your heart.
It is.
Yeah.
Just got to get out of the way.
But she is that. And then stubborn.
Just say swim and that's it.
And
then say swim. She's stubborn.
Stubborn, completely stubborn, and will get it wrong for the rest of her life. And I love her, but she couldn't be more wrong.
Let's go April Fools.
Yeah. She's voting for Trump.
Go throw that word out and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Say the anus is on you today. Get this thing done.
You know who is going to do that today?
I so hope
anus.
He does.
Yes. Yes, Neil. The anus. Onus? If you missed any of that, go back and listen to Bortz. It was fantastic this morning. A lot of laughs.
The anus?
Yes, Neil.
Yes.
You have that right, sir.
Onus? Yes, so good. for Los and Trey and Flounder way back in the back. My name is Tug. Y'all come back now. You're here. The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's Tug, and here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
Not only do we all belong to the government by default, we all belong to government unions. Is that the process that's going on in the minds of these people, blindly criticizing any attempt to cut back the size and power of the federal government? Think about it.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.